Well, it's a rough day for all you parents of young girls today. It's going to be a difficult weekend. I hope you keep them occupied. Go out and buy them some cucumbers or something. Because they're really in mourning today. Two of the Backstreet Boys announced they're getting married.
Boy!
Kevin and Brian. Which only, of course, leaves AJ, who's already, we know he's straight because he's got a girlfriend. It leaves Howie and Nick. I don't think they have to worry about Howie or Nick, do you?
No.
No. Why is the number 13 keep going through my mind today? You know, that number is just, it's like, you ever wake up and it was just, even though it's the 18th of February, the number 13, everywhere I look, I see it on a wall, I see it on a mirror, I look in there and George, it's on his forehead. 13. Maybe it's because Danny Boy was on this morning with the worst team. You think that might be it?
No.
And did he say anything?
No.
I heard that. I heard that Danny was on it. And Danny sounded good. Like you said, they must have given him the good microphone. And the other guys were, yeah, what was that? What kind of a show was that? And did anybody here notice that?
No.
The worst line I've ever heard in my life. It sounded like you guys were coming through a strainer. I hate to tell you now, but it's too late to do anything about it. Yeah, the Backstreet Boys, two of them announced they're getting married, and the girls out there are just swooning. See, why is it that these young girls, they really think that they got a chance in the first place with most of these boy entertainers? Here's our first call of the day on a Friday from Gainesville.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
What's up?
How you doing, sir?
Great. Good morning to you.
How come that number 13 keeps going through my mind?
I don't know.
It's either Dan Marino or maybe it's a stock price I saw this morning. But anyway.
Yeah, it might be the Dow, the way things are going.
Yeah, maybe unlucky number 13. The Dow's already off to a bad start today. We don't care. It's only money. That's what Alan Greenspan said yesterday. What are you worried about? It's only your money.
Yeah, that's right. Because
smart-ass bastard he is.
He can't hold any stock or anything, so what does he care?
That's right.
He's got all his money in...
Plus, he's got his. Don't worry about him. He's got his.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely got his.
And if he keeps up the crap he's doing now, I think he's going to get his if he doesn't cut the crap out.
Oh, yeah.
But at any rate, what are you worried about? You don't have any money.
That's true. I don't. I'm a poor college kid.
You don't have a pot to pee in.
That's right.
Well, as long as you got, pot to smoke, who cares about a pot to pee in, right?
That's right.
They probably got the good crap up there in Gainesville. Don't they have the good Schmidt up there?
We try.
Yeah.
It's tough, though, because,
Where do they bring it in from?
Well, they try to bring it in from, like, the Gulf.
Yeah.
But we're not near the Gulf.
Yeah, that is a problem, yeah.
Yeah. We don't have a port.
Well, we're going to start sending boatloads of weed up there over this weekend because we know that you guys are desperate. What's wrong with that?
Send the boatloads of weed. Don't send any boatloads of anybody else.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll bring some of those guys up there to bring it to you.
Thanks.
Some dark-complected Caribbean types.
We'll have to take a look first.
I'm sure that they'd last a long time in Gainesville.
Maybe, oh yeah, the Rednecks would have a field day with them.
So how things going up there, huh?
It's a very good day out.
Yeah.
Sunny, 80 degrees.
Right.
No problems.
And you're listening on the internet?
I am.
Great.
As I do every day. I'm a freshman up here at the university. I got hooked onto you.
All right.
Oh yeah. I got hooked onto you when you first came to QAM because I used to listen to QAM with my dad in the car and stuff, and I just kept on listening.
And then you found out what a real radio show was all about when this show came on the station.
It was a lot different. I used to listen to Worrell at night.
Oh boy. Wow.
And he was like the Mr. Rock and Roll DJ.
Yeah, rock and roll sports guy, yeah.
Right, and then he does. Have you ever heard of this show called Battle Dome?
No.
It's like, remember American Gladiators?
Mm-hmm.
It's like American Gladiators and professional wrestling combined.
Yeah.
And Worrell does commentary for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then one time, I heard...
Great playmaking of Oleg Kabasha.
And then one time...
He's a trip, man.
One time I was listening to one of the hockey games and I heard his voice. I was like, what is he doing hockey?
The worst, the most embarrassing I've ever heard. But in Atlanta, they don't know the difference.
Yeah, he's almost as bad as Barry Melrose trying to say how wonderful...
Barry's got better hair.
I assume you were at the Ranger game, but...
Yes, I was. Sure was.
Oh!
Looked pretty good to me.
We were watching the game in the dorm room, and Barry Melrose just could not get off the fact how great Peter Worrell is, how he's a big athlete. They got him on the line with Bure, and he's such a great player, and he's going to get a lot of pats on the back after he got the penalty.
You might have to hire a big black guy named somebody named anything. Go give Barry Melrose a haircut, real close, real tight.
And if you ever watch him on ESPN, he always tries to impress you. He always has that Mont Blanc pen in his hand.
Well, I'm impressed by the fact that nobody will hire him. He's been out of work for, 3 years now, 3 or 4 years, and nobody will hire him. So that tells you everything you need to know. Well, listen, have a great weekend, pal.
You too, Neil.
And the boatloads are coming.
I love you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Okay, there's a young man from Gainesville. Let's hear it.
Oh!
U of F. I think that's from FU. That's a good start for the day. Let's go home. What do you say? Oh, we got to get some food in here a little later on? And by the way, Tom Jicka, thanks again. I got a nice picture there. I always like having my picture next to Howard, although I'd rather have his bank account than mine, but nevertheless. I look lovely compared to Howard on that picture. It's on page 4E in the Sun Sentinel this morning. Listeners, stay oil. Don't touch that dial. One little factual error, and you had no way of knowing this because when Tom got the numbers from Bluff, we didn't have the breakdown. But from 3 to 7, Hank was number 2 in men, 25-54. But from 2 to 6, the Humper is number 1 with a 6.5. How do you like that?
That was fun.
Yeah. Number 1. I just thought I would clarify that. So we're number 1 in men, 25-54 by a wide shot. We got a 7.8 in midday. Hank's got a 6.5. He's number 1 in the afternoon. And where's the weak link, do you think? How come we didn't make that secondary bonus for being in the top 3, 25-54 men? Do you think it could be the morning show?
Uh-huh.
Do you think the morning show is like slacking off being number 6? Midday's number 1. I mean, okay, they're not going to beat Howard. Okay, that I'll give them. They got Howard to contend with. They're not going to beat him. But number 2 or 3 would have gotten us over the hump. Would have gotten us some extra bonus money. Number 3 would have been nice. There's something wrong there. And I mean, Hank's doing his part. I'm certainly doing my part. Big fat part, especially the fat part. But the morning show. Maybe we ought to take a poll on that one of these days soon. What's wrong with our morning show on this radio station?
I have no clue.
Exactly. Maybe that's what's wrong with it. 9 minutes after 10. Maybe that line they were doing the show on this morning, maybe that might not have helped either. You know what we found like this on the water? Yeah, that could have been it. They'll come along. Are they going to come along or what?
No.
As soon as we get Castanova over here, he'll kick some ass. Huh? As soon as we get Bob and Tom on them, Tom on them. 10 past 10. Yeah, that's right. We're starting to squeeze our nipples. We're so excited at the thought of having Bob and Tom as a lead-in. God, would that be great? Would that be great?
Uh-huh.
I'm hearing the rumors that we're going over there to TMI. Oh, and by the way, if any of you classical music assholes are listening, the word from the inside of Cox, we have some close connections over there. You can kiss your classical music goodbye. Bye-bye. See ya. No more Mozart. No more Beethoven. No more Ludwig van. So grab a hold of your snake and squeeze for dear life because they're going bye-bye. 10 past 10 at 560 WQAM.
No portion of this broadcast may be
No.
without the express written permission of WQAM Beasley Reed Acquisition Corp.
Gordon gives South Florida a major blowjob.
Tonight on VH1 Storytellers, it's a very special evening with Christina Aguilera.
Like, I got the idea, for this song. One day when my manager told me, I had to sing it.
Get the story behind the music from the woman, lady, to adolescent who conquered the pop music world with her own unique style.
I got the idea for this song from Britney Spears. Then I told my record company, and they had a guy write it for me and stuff.
Christina Aguilera on VH1 Storytellers.
I think a big turning point for me musically, was when I finally realized, I needed breast implants.
When they write the pop music history books, they'll file Christina Aguilera under A.
They will? Oh, cool.
Christina Aguilera tonight on VH1 Storytellers, the show where people who have nothing to say the stuff.
And I'm going to tell you, if anybody wondered why vanilla ice cream is so popular, just take a look at that bitch. She's 48, by the way, going on 18. 52 this week? She looks like crap. She can't sing for Schmidt, but other than that, she's dynamite. I don't understand. She weighs about 82 pounds soaking wet. She looks like a scarecrow on a bad day, and she sure looks scary to me. But nevertheless, she's big, baby.
Oh!
She is big. Here's a very distressing fact to start off my morning. I'm really upset about this. Am I upset?
No.
No. It's an email, no less. And it says, for once in a long time, Neil, something you've said has caused me to stop listening to your show. I can enjoy the shots you take at blacks in America. This is obviously from a darkie. Am I right about that?
Uh-huh.
From a dark-complected person? I'm not really sure how dark on a Richter scale, like maybe a 1 or a 2, or maybe a 10 or an 11 on a scale of 8. Like, who's real dark? Give me somebody that's like real, I'll tell you who was real black.
Roy!
He was real dark.
Tupac Shakur.
Was. No, I'm talking about somebody who's still alive. How come we just mentioned 2 people? Well, Roy's not dead, but he's departed. Somebody,
Roy's good. He
for
couldn't
what?
get no darker.
Good for what? I'll tell you one thing, you sure like that dark dildo. But at any rate, it says, the shots you take at the countries of Africa just show how ill-informed you are of history. I don't know anything about history. I don't want to know anything about history. George is the history expert. I know about important things like hockey and harness racing. George knows about the other. I know Hockey, harness racing, and homos. Those 3 H's. Yeah, what's wrong with that? George knows about the other H, that's history. Well, who cares? I mean, history's in the past. It says it wasn't until the last half of the 20th century that most African countries were freed from colonial rule. Democracy and equality were not part of the system during the colonial periods, so how can you expect these formerly oppressed people to immediately turn around and have a country that's anything like our own? First of all, did I ever say I expect them to do that? Did I say that?
No.
No. I just said that they're a bunch of barbarians living in the Stone Age, for the most part. And that's true. The colonial powers, Britain, France, Belgium, Italy, Germany, etc., and the European countries, made sure to keep the masses uneducated and shackled with either tribal religions or with Christianity, or worse yet, some bizarre mixing of the two. Well, look how good it's working in Northern Ireland.
They're the ones that did that mixing, by the way.
If you want to talk about African problems, you should do as your website suggests, get literate and educated. No, see, you don't understand the philosophy here, my dark-complected friend. That's for you to do. Don't do as I do as I say. You get literate and educated, and I'll take home the paycheck every or twice a month. Right. Get smart. Too late for an old fart like me. I'm just getting whatever the hell I can, like in Amsterdam. And believe me, it says this is one of the great lines I've ever heard, and this is definitive. I want you to listen to this very, very carefully, because this is the epitome, and at least he's honest about it. This is the epitome of all of the people who say, oh, you've pissed me off this time, I'll never listen to you again. Guess what? Right. It says, I know I will tune in again tomorrow. Oh, this was from back on Tuesday, so he's been listening ever since Tuesday. On Tuesday. See, there I go saying that again. I'm starting to talk Blackies. I know I will tune in again tomorrow, but for the rest of today, I'm not listening. Oh, yeah, welcome back to South Florida. Kind of grudgingly. Welcome back, you asshole, you. Something like that. This is from Joe Mama. Well, I'm sorry, Joe, if I offended you. Am I really sorry? No, but it sounds good. Because if I don't offend you, then nobody would listen to the show. The idea of the show is to offend as many people as possible and then make them realize that they're taking things too serious. Just lighten up a few shades, Joe, that's all. Lighten up a little bit, all you darkies out there, all you smokies and clouds and spooks and porch monkeys. See, it's only not even 20 after already, and you're starting to make these comments. Racist bastard Jew, fag. Oh, speaking of that, here is one of the great stories in history. And this, you know what they're going to be saying all over town today about this? Comunista. Oh, man, this is even going to get him off that Elion crap for a little while. They might even put it back in his pants and let it rest for a while after they hear about this. Cuba spy was INS officer, FBI says. Right. Supervisor had access to sensitive files, agents charge. I won't tell you this guy's name, by the way. A high-ranking supervisor with secret security clearance at the U.S. Immigration Office in Miami was arrested yesterday and charged with spying for the Cuban government.
Oi!
Mariano Faggot, 54 of Kendall.
That damn faggot. I can't stand it.
Was being held at the Federal Detention Center in Miami on Thursday evening while 10 FBI agents searched and photographed his 2-story house on a cul-de-sac. It sounds like a sack of Schmidt to me, the FBI said. Is that the same FBI that covered up for that guy that killed the 2 people driving the wrong way, drunk out of his mind?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's what I thought. The FBI of gay Edgar Hoover. Today, 3 law enforcement agencies will hold a news conference just in 40 minutes from now, as a matter of fact, at 11 a.m., to unveil the extent of Faggot's association with Cuba.
That damn faggot. I can't stand it.
And its spies in Miami and other U.S. cities, whom Faggot met with secretly, the FBI said.
That damn faggot. I can't stand it.
Faggot, who was born in Cuba. Well, I'm assuming I'm pronouncing that right. It's not Faget. He's not a Frenchman. Is he a frog?
No.
No. And there's no way you would pronounce that in Espanol. Mariano Faggot. He's a faggot. He was born in Cuba. Well, of course, there's a lot of faggots born in Cuba. And became a well-liked supervisor at the busy Miami INS office, was charged with a federal violation of the Espionage Act and making false statements. He is scheduled for his first appearance in U.S. District Court today. Fry his ass. Faggot's dad, Daddy Fag, who had the same name, was a well-known police commander in Cuba charged with hunting down comunistas in the 1950s during the reign of Cuban President Fulgencio Batista, who was overthrown by Fidel Castro in 1959. I love saying that, by the way. Fulgencio Batista. Fascista rhymes with Batista. Do you think there's a coincidence in that? That Batista rhymes with fascista? During the details of the espionage charges lodged against, I see, that's a mistake here. As usual, in which paper is this? The Herald? Yeah, it's the Herald. The details of the espionage charges against Faggot were sketchy Thursday evening, but FBI spokesman Terry Nelson called the arrest a major case that's been in the works for 2 years. He had real good access, he said, of Faggot's ability to view INS records. How do you like that?
Someone called to say that they were pronouncing it Fahet on the news last night. But that's not nearly as funny.
His name, well, they're saying that because they, just like Ed Koch. His name wasn't Koch. How do you spell Koch? How do you pronounce that? Not Koch, but they don't want to pronounce it that way. They want to say Ed Koch. That's bad, especially in his case because, we all know about Ed Koch, whatever his name is. And the same thing here. The media always likes to play with these names because you can't say faggot on the air. Can you say it?
That damn faggot. I can't stand it.
Can't say that. And Daddy was hunting down communistas, so it runs in the family. There are a bunch of subversive commie pinko spies and whatever. Oh no, the Daddy was hunting down the communistas, and then the son he
looks like he missed one.
Yeah, he missed. Well, he was too busy on the outside. Maybe he was like Herbert Philbrick. Remember Herbert Philbrick? No, I Led 3 Lives.
Oh, okay, yes.
Jesus Christ, Mr. History Buff. What could be more important than Hilbert during the commie red baiting days of the early 50s than I Led 3 Wives? Here's a Mobile and Homestead. Hello. Mobile and Homestead.
Yes.
Yes,
Neil,
sir.
hi. This is the gentleman who called you a while ago, complimenting you. I come from Europe, very close to Piazza della Repubblica.
Piazza della Repubblica.
Yes, sir.
Right near the right near La Grand Hotel.
Yes.
And Dagnino, where they had that bakery where they have those great pastries.
Bravo.
Are you familiar with Dagnino?
I'm familiar with the whole area. I grew up. I was born and raised in
Dagnino c'è molto bene. But anyway.
Neil, I was just holding when you brought up the issue I wanted to talk about. It was about this immigration situation.
See.
And I have a very close person who works in the system, and she's amazed in all these green card holders. They're being employed by the INS, which I don't know if it makes much sense, but it's pretty much a Cuban colony in that place if you go on Brickell. So that's all I want to say.
Okay, arrivederci.
Ciao, Neil.
Ciao. What do you say? Anybody know what he said?
No.
He said it's a Cuban what? Colony?
Colony.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that they were colonializing. Well, of course, they already have in Miami, but other than that, maybe they'll branch out. Maybe they'll move in some other direction. Maybe up to Gainesville. That kid that called earlier, he said he'd like to have some Cubans up there to have his way with.
Already.
By the way, that's our poll question for the day. Who gets laid more? Who gets more ass? Seminoles or the Gators? No, I think that's something that's worth exploring. Who's getting more ass? And, of course, I use that term only in the loosest possible sense of the term. I'm never going to find this damn thing that I'm looking for.
Want Eric to put it on the website?
What is that?
The poll question.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
We're not talking about women.
Oh, butt out of here, will you please? Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Let Eric put that on our website. We'll find out who's getting laid more, the Gators or the Seminoles. Who's getting more action up there in Tallahassee or in Gainesville and all those Yahoo. Because what else is there to do besides get drunk? Which, of course, at colleges all over the country, that's the number one priority, is getting as drunk, drink as much beer as you possibly can, and getting as much ass. As much ass.
We're not talking about women.
Necessarily, as you possibly can. That's a great poll question. Yeah, let's stick it right on the website. See if we get a response on that. Well, George was showing me that he had we're going to start actually doing that. Which, if we ever got our own computer in here, we wouldn't have to rely on Eric. We could do it for ourselves. And the poll question, too. But George was telling me about a conversation he had with some cops that were putting up roadblocks while I was on vacation under the guise of looking for drug addicts, drug peddlers, junkies, all this other crap. And the poll question was, who hassled you more in your life? And here was the result. Was it cops or was it junkies that you were hassled by? 305 people said they were hassled by cops more, and only 69 people, that's an interesting number, said junkies. 81.5% said they were hassled by pork more in their lives, only a small handful by junkies. And, of course, that just makes common sense. But that's just another excuse that the fascist police out there have, to hassle everybody and pull people over. Well, if we pull over 1,000 people and we find one or two drug peddlers, it's really worth hassling your life. No, it's not. No, it is absolutely not. In addition to which, most of like I told George, in Amsterdam, all those dark-complected drug peddlers in the streets that are annoying me all the time, those Rasta guys, coke, crack, those guys, the only people that ever stop and do business with them are the scumbags. So who gives a crap? The reasonable people, the clean-cut people, the living and breathing people, they just give them kind of like a dirty look, and they move right on by. Like Dionne Warwick said, walk on by. Isn't that what she said?
No.
Something like that. No, she said, please give me some money because I'm starving and I'm bankrupt, and call in for my phony psychic network. Don't call Dionne Warwick, by the way. Call Stroh Griffin. She's our buddy. She's got a better phony psychic network. 1027 at 560 WQA.
It's Friday, you bastards.
Sunday! Be there at Amish Raceway. We're gonna party like it's 1899. Sunday! It's edge of your seat barn racing action with the ultimate Amish Raceway showdown as Jebediah Johnson takes on Hezekiah Johnson in a head-to-head funny funky showdown that'll make your butter churn. Sunday! It's the Amish Raceway winner-take-all handicap match when Ebenezer the Quilt Johansson meets Artemer Big Hat Jurgensen. Two go in, one comes out. Who will take home the orange triangle? Sunday! On the seventh day, God may have rested, but for this Sunday only, you snooze, you lose at Amish Raceway.
$10:32 at 560 WQAM. Speaking of the Amish, South Carolina, which isn't too far away from Amish country, big primary tomorrow, baby. Oh! I'm sitting here thinking to myself, you start out with New Hampshire. Well, first the Iowa caucus, Iowa, New Hampshire. Then they stick Delaware in between because there's like 10 people live there, and now South Carolina. And this is what's going to set the stage for what your choice is going to be in November for who's going to be the next president and have his finger on it and the button too. I mean, you talk about a cockeyed, ridiculous system. Who gives a in what way? I mean, why wouldn't they start out? First of all, they should have a national primary. They've been threatening that for years. That would make all the sense in the world. Of course, it takes the fun out of it for the media because then it all happens in one day, and then what do? But that's the way to do it.
And why are we still using electors, by the way?
Because that's the way the Founding Fathers did, just like when Jefferson had his slaves. You know something? Let me say this to you. If slavery was good enough for Thomas Jefferson, then what the hell's wrong with George Jefferson? You know what I'm saying? Why isn't it good enough today? And, of course, people would say, how could you say that? And I'm only joking when I say that, but it goes to show you all this crap about, well, our Founding Fathers were very brilliant in some ways and very primitive in other ways. So all of this crap about, well, you know, the good book says, and the Founding Fathers said, who gives a crap? Here we are in the year 2000. How about if we use our own brain? What a concept. Yeah. Oh, you can't do that. That's un-American, man. Our Founding Fathers, they were like geniuses. Yeah, that's why they wore those white wigs and had wooden teeth, because they were geniuses. I mean, what the hell are you people thinking about? Are we ever going to get beyond that?
No.
I don't think so. But what's wrong with the national primary? If you're going to have primaries, if we're going to do it the same way that we're doing it now, instead of starting with Iowa, New Hampshire, and Delaware and South Carolina, a bunch of bumpkin Yahoo states, start with New York, California, Texas, Illinois, Florida, Michigan, and that's it. Have those on the same day to get it started. And whoever can survive those primaries, if we have to continue with this charade in this game that we go on so that the media can make a lot of money with spots and can milk this for all they can, then move on and have the smaller states later on. But because of the fact that you're dealing with emotional animals and all this so-called momentum, like it's a ball game, not like it's an intelligent thing like an election that has some significance and importance. No, it's like a ball game. Who's got the big mo? Yeah, that's right. Who's got mo for your money? And the thing that shocks me also is that yesterday I'm watching and they're saying this is as of last evening. I'm watching that 5 to 6 thing they have on CNN, that political thing inside politics, and they're saying they have never seen a race this close as the Republican race in South Carolina, Bush and McCain. I'm watching this morning on the same CNN, and the guy, the expert they bring on says, Bush now he was ahead like 8% last week, and now the latest poll he's like moved further ahead. His lead seems to be pretty comfortable in South Carolina. Well, what does that mean? And, of course, the reason that they can't measure it is because they don't have any idea how many independents and Democrats are going to cross-dress and cross over and vote in the Republican primary to screw it up. See, it used to be the other way. A lot of Republicans would do that and screw up the Democratic primaries intentionally to try to get in there the candidate they think would be the weakest opponent. And that's another thing. What sense does it make if you're a registered independent or Democrat, why should you be able to vote in the Republican primary or vice versa? Right? You shouldn't. You should only be able to vote in, because what primaries are is people who are members of a particular party selecting their candidate to run for the office. Oh, what a concept. In other words, the Democrats pick who they want, and the Republicans pick who they want. That's the way it's supposed to work. But just like the Founding Fathers, this is all Dark Age crap. Just like the thing in New York that McCain had to fight, tooth and nail, to get his name on a ballot after his landslide win in New Hampshire, because this is another game they play. Oh, well, if you don't do it by a certain time, even if you got 70% of the votes in all the other primaries, we're not going to get you on a ballot in New York. Well, guess what? Too bad they got him on there. Because of political pressure. Because it was too goddamn embarrassing. But it is going to be pretty interesting. Now, let's see, who do we want to see win? I would say Bush. Because McCain scares the hell out of me, not because he's a good candidate, not because he's a great speaker, not because he has any great ideas, but because he's a war hero. War hero? Right. And America loves war heroes. I mean, no matter how unctuous they are. Just like, how about Lindbergh, Lucky Lindbergh? He was like an American hero because he flew a plane there, Spirit of St. Louis. And so even though he probably did kill his kid, and that whole thing with Lindbergh baby was a fake, and even though he was a virulent anti-Semite and thought just like in Austria, he thought Hitler was never such a bad guy, never stole a freight train. American hero, Lucky Lindbergh. America's big on that crap. Heroes. So I say Bush is going to win in South Carolina tomorrow. In fact, if there's any Republicans out there, I'd get in my pickup truck right now, head up to South Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina. That's a good place to stop off. And vote 10 or 20 times tomorrow for Bush. Just to make sure that those damn independents and Democrats don't screw up your ways. Because his name is Bush, he's supposed to get in, isn't he? Isn't that the way it works? That's right. Daddy told him so. Just like here in Florida. We got a guy named Bush. He was supposed to get in, right? That's why they put a dead man up against him. A bumpkin. Yeah. Right, buddy? Hey, buddy. How you doing, buddy? Oh, God. I can see this is going to be someday on a phone, man. I can see this is going to be a tremendously musical Friday with all the stuff that's going on, all these important things. Do these people have anything going?
No.
Boy, it's been a bizarre week. It's been kind of a mixed bag. We don't have a single call on the board there right now. We got important stuff going on, like Tom Jicka's column, like the 2 cases against this priest in Dade County are settled finally, which I'll get into. But no matter what it is, the cat's got these people's tongues. And like Tom says, I love his line, last line in his article, which I'll get to. He talks about the fact that I'm number 1, 2554, and helped Hank also be, he says number 2, but Hank turned out to be number 1 between 2 and 6. He says, however, when women are figured into the mix, Rogers is only 15th among all listeners, 2554. To use a favorite Rogers line, you could put all the women listening to his program in a thimble and still have room for the Chinese army. Nice going, Tom. Oh! Well, that Tom Jicka is really coming along. You know what? He is really, even though he's my only great hope left in this town. He's the only guy that even knows my name. Nice going, Tom. God bless you, sweetheart. I'll pray for you. Good old Tom Jicka. But he's our good close buddy. And he also, by the way, said Greg Reed's an asshole. That's one more reason I like Tom a lot. Because he's been in this building. He's seen the schmutz on the walls. He said, boy, that place is a turlet. The only thing about Tom, remember when I used to have him on, he used to greps a lot? What is that? Maybe we can get Tom some of those pills that I'm taking now. Real acid indigestion, IBS, because he always has that bad, sour stomach. 21 before 11 at 560 WQAM.
Get the Hoover out the moon, man.
Hi, Felicia. Gee, I love your dress, and your hair looks so shiny and manageable. Are you still shampooing with Head and Shoulders?
Gosh, Chick, I stopped using Head and Shoulders a long time ago. I mean, honestly, who grows hair on their shoulders anyway?
Yeah, right. So, what are you using now?
Well, it's like Head and Shoulders, only without all those additives. It's just called Head. Let's tell them about it, girls.
If you're tired of your old shampoo and frustrated and feeling blue, just remember what I said. You'll feel better if you get some Head.
Wow! Where can I get Head?
Lots of places, Chick. You can stop by my place later, and I'll be happy to give you some Head. In 15 minutes, I'll have you shampooed, styled, and blown dry.
Gee, you don't miss a lick, do you? Head sounds great, but is it expensive?
Not at all, Chick. My brother says there are places downtown where you can get Head for less than $10.
Golly, at that price, everyone should be getting Head.
That's right, Chick. When you say Head, you said a mouthful. Hi, I'm Dr. Raymond Fillet.
Audio from Freedom All Industries, here to tell you why you should get head. First, it lubricates each limp hair follicle, leaving an erect, glistening shaft. Then the scalp's natural oils are sucked out of the root, leaving your hair soft, shiny, and exhausted. Nothing does the job like head.
Great. Can I get head from my hairdresser, Bruce?
Probably, but you might want to try your girlfriend first.
Go out and get some head today. Yeah, yeah. A little squirt goes a long, long way. Yeah, yeah. You'll look better and you'll feel terrific. Yeah, yeah. When you get head, you're a lucky sip.
Want hair with lots of volume? Nothing gets it up like head. Available at a price you won't find hard to swallow. And it's going down every day.
Honey, we're out of shampoo. Can you go out and get some head?
What did you say?
I said I want you to go out and get head.
Oh, thank you, sweet Jesus. I'm going down.
And head makes a great holiday gift.
Last Christmas, my wife gave me some head. Then I gave her a pearl necklace. I've never seen her so choked up.
My girlfriend used to give me head, and then we got married. Now I'm lucky if I get Jergens lotion and a National Geographic.
Once you start, you won't wanna stop. Head feels so good, you might blow your top. Give head in the shower, you'll wanna hum. Give head. If you're tired of your old shampoo, frustrated and feeling blue, just remember what I said. You'll feel better if you get some head. You'll feel better if you get some head.
Oh, yeah. God.
Head shampoo. Come on, give it a shot. My hair looks great.
Could use a nap.
And didn't we ever tell you kids, don't eat with your mouth, don't talk with your mouth full? It's like when you go to the dentist. I don't know about your dentist, but my good Dr. Gary.
Why?
Every time I go to him, and as soon as they start putting all those instruments in your mouth and packing it with all kinds of crap, then they like start asking you questions like that. What are you supposed to say?
They all do that.
Yeah.
You say,
yeah, it's an act of sadism. Well, what do you think? How's it going? Anyway, Eric has got it on our website, neilrogers.com, if you want to vote if you're a Seminole or a Gator. The poll question today is who gets more ass, Gators or Seminoles? I think that's a great poll question. Find out. Of course, there's more sheep in Gainesville. We do know that. Here's a fax from Mike and Kendall, a chronic faxer, who says, just wanted to let you know that Sour 96 is giving away $100 to each caller during the next 20 minutes. Apparently, they're doing this several times a day over the next few weeks. Once again, they've chosen to buy an audience as opposed to an Eastern phone system. I guess that's the Greg Reed effing way, is what he says. Nice going there, Mike and Kendall, but we are getting that new expensive, very fancy schmancy phone system. And, of course, the interesting part about that is that even if it is the phone company's problem, that isn't going to change anything. But nevertheless, we force them to spend some money. Why does that number 13 keep coming back into my mind again? It just keeps popping up over and over again. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. If we've got anybody in this audience who's ever been in Africa.
Besides Gilbert.
We don't want to talk to Gilbert. They need him desperately on that Point 2 show in the morning on Stupid Talk. I'm talking about like a real person who's ever been in Africa. Maybe they can educate us as to what it's really like there. And I'm not talking so much about South Africa, which is far more civilized than most of the rest of that barbaric country, but that would be acceptable too. I'm willing to learn. Maybe there is more than just a bunch of cannibals and spear chuckers over there. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello. And rapist. Mobile in Miami.
Hey, Neil.
Yes?
I registered my penis. I just wanted to, really quick, I read, I believe it was in the Herald, that Broward has the highest population of priests dying of AIDS.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with that. God bless you.
Okay.
There's no fact in the church.
2 cases against priests settled by, and of course this article in the Sun Sentinel Day written by James R. Davis, religion editor. So you have to raise at least 3 eyes up in the air when you realize that he wrote the article, because he's a real shill for organized religion. He's the one that wrote that book review of our great buddy, what the hell is our good buddy's name? Charles Templeton, Farewell to God, and ripped the book, a gigantic review. This is long after, like 2 years after I was talking about the book, and what a great job Charles Templeton, the ex-preacher, did about the debunking all this religious crap, and he just ripped it to pieces. Of course, because James Davis isn't the religious editor, he's the religious promoter. But nevertheless, he writes this little article, which they bury way back in the paper today, 2 cases against priests settled. The Archdiocese of Miami has quietly reached settlements with 2 of 4 plaintiffs against the Fort Lauderdale priest they had accused of sexual misconduct. The settlements were made within the past couple of months under terms that they are confidential, said attorney Russell Adler of Fort Lauderdale, representing the four men against the Reverend Joseph Sinesi. The 2 plaintiffs who settled with the Archdiocese lived in the neighborhood of St. Jerome Catholic Church in southwestern Fort Lauderdale, where Sinesi served until late 1998. One of the plaintiffs accused the priest of stalking and harassing him. The other accused Sinesi of sexual conduct while hiring him for odd jobs around the church, Adler said. What kind of jobs was it? Odd. Archdiocesan attorney J. Patrick, don't you like the way I said that? That was great. I'm really proud of myself.
Neil, God!
That's a big word for me. Archdiocesan attorney J. Patrick Fitzgerald was out of town, unavailable for comment. Mary Ross Augusta. She's probably kin to Ileana Ross Gross Rosanna Dana. Mary Ross Augusta, spokeswoman for the Archdiocese, confirmed the 2 cases had been settled, but gave no details, citing the confidentially stricture in the scripture. That's what she said. The other 2 plaintiffs say Sinesi had sexual conduct with them about 15 years ago when he was serving at Immaculate Conception Church in Hialeah. Yeah, I heard he was immaculate. Yeah, I always had plenty of towels around, unlike that goddamn Bubba. Those 2 cases have not yet been resolved. Yeah, see, if he would have just been a little more immaculate, we wouldn't have had no mess on the dress, and we wouldn't have had to go through all that Ken Starr penis gate. Sinesi was pastor of St. Maurice Parish. See, I had Manuel on my mind, because he liked doing it manually. Between Dayton and Hollywood, when the first accusations became public in August. News reports of the matter prompted the 2 men from Immaculate Conception to call Adler, the attorney said. The 4th plaintiff, one of those from the St. Jerome neighborhood, came forward only late last year. Augusta said on Thursday she didn't know Sinesi's whereabouts, but said he is not an active priest in the Archdiocese. He did resign from St. Maurice and was not reassigned, she said. Not yet. His whereabouts are unknown. Maybe he's up there getting a sex change with Denise up there in Albany. I bet you they'd look charming together. I mean, just day after day, week after week, story after story, all these things come barreling out of the closet, all the AIDS cases, and yet the masses out there, and I hate to use that term mass, but the brainwashed masses keep going out there and subsidizing this garbage, this god-awful, grotesque, hypocritical garbage. And there's nothing that any of us can do or say to stop you because you don't have a brain to think for yourself. 567-0560, pound 560 on the... Okay, I can see that. Like I said, it's going to be all music today. I got one call on the board. It's a Lady Mobile in Hallandale. Hello?
Yes, hi, Neil.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I change the subject to something lighter?
There is no subject. The subject is whatever you want to talk about.
Okay.
Why do I always have to explain that?
Okay. I ran out and bought the 2030 Fiber book.
Yeah.
And I began reading it, and now I'm carrying it around. I'm going shopping now with it. Everybody's looking at me like I'm nuts walking around reading this book, and I'm absolutely fascinated. What made you turn to this instead of the Atkins?
Because the Atkins doesn't work for me. Plus, it makes you constipated, and it's got too much fat, and I don't think it's good for you.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
It doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, and I just want to thank you for...
And I'll tell you this much, I feel a zillion times better on this diet than I did in the Atkins.
Yeah, okay, I agree with you. I went to their website, and I don't know if you bother with that, but you can ask questions directly. I have some questions, and so people who buy the book, they can go right to their website, and it's interactive.
Okay.
Very good. And thanks a million.
Just say goodbye to all that red meat. Maybe once in a while, but
Thank God.
all that meat and cheese will kill you.
Thank God. I was getting intimidated by all the people that were saying, the Atkins is the only thing that works.
Hey, listen, if it works for them, fine. I don't have a problem with that. It doesn't work for me. It's just not my thing.
Well, I have diverticulosis, and so I can't hack the Atkins.
Right.
Anyway.
Amen.
Amen. Bye-bye, dear.
Good luck.
Bye-bye.
567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. This is a town where we go through these phases, and this is one of those weeks. I'm not going to fight it. They just got nothing to say this week because the Danny thing is pretty much over. They pretty much given that up, even though we don't talk about that stuff anyway. But what little material they had before, the same ponder was Danny and Jimmy and Danny and whatever else, and of course the Alien thing, which, please, I don't want to hear that name again. And that's pretty much it. Just like that one fax said when I came back from vacation, nothing happened here while you were gone. Okay, I mean, a few murders, stuff like that, but hey, that's just business as usual in the big city. Here's a mobile in Boca. Hello. Mobile in Boca.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
Okay.
Good. Heading to Africa. My case.
Yeah.
Going up to
Oh,
Zimbabwe.
you're going, but you haven't been there.
haven't been there, but when I get back, I'll give you a spy report.
What prompted you to want to go there?
I said to my wife, I said, name me some places you don't want to go. And she said, Africa. I said, we're going. So we're going up there to Zimbabwe. There's actually gambling there.
Yeah.
And then we're
I think it's a gamble when you get off the plane. That's the first gamble.
And I guess when you get on the plane, they'll say, stewardess is Taquanda. No, I'm only kidding. That's on South African Airways. It's supposed to be a fine airline.
Yeah, although I do understand that every now and then they divert to Afghanistan, but that's just what I'm hearing, you know.
We're hoping not.
Uh-huh.
Don't want to make too many detours.
Okay.
But then we're going to head up to Sun City, which is Saul Krasner's place.
Uh-huh.
I tell you what. And so we're kind of excited, but when I get back, I will tell you whether it was worth going or not.
Okay.
That's it. I'm
sure you don't want to reconsider now?
Well, I got to take these malaria tablets.
Have a great time, pal.
Thanks.
We'll pray for you.
Thank you.
And I think you'll need it. Wow, there's a guy on March 8th. He's going off to Africa. He's going to check out the Afrikaners. I mean, maybe Africa's a great place, you know, for somebody else. Just like those cruise ships that day after day we read these horror stories because I can't convince you people that people that go on cruise ships are idiots. They're fools. They're a captive audience for Mickey. That's all they are. They're suckers. They're people that want to have a bad vacation. I mean, I don't know about you. I get a lot of vacation days a year. Most people don't get 5 weeks like I do. But if you do, or whatever you get, that's what you get. You got to make the best of it. You got to make hay while the sun, your sun is shining. And these people that waste their time on those cruises and then they bitch and they moan and they bellyache. Let me ask you, when's the last time I went on vacation and came back and said I had a crappy time? Can you remember a time?
No.
10:56 at 5. And just to prove to you, I'll be glad to start on one again tomorrow. I could get on a plane. You know, just to prove to you I know what I'm talking about. I know my crap.
Motorsports Saturday.
Yeah. Well, what was that?
That was the same rejoin we used to play. Same number anyway.
Yeah.
But it's been changed.
And that's the promo? I like those short ones, man.
Georgie Bush says that his nose
Oh, wait a
is
minute.
clean and
Wait a
never
minute.
flipped up.
See, that threw me off because it's the ID time. Sorry. Nice going, Doug.
Georgie Bush says that his nose is clean and never put stuff in it.
'Cause he's running for the White House, so he just can't admit it.
Stone drunk and that's not all, he even downed a few speedballs.
In college any drug would do, he even dropped some method too.
Why won't Georgie just come out and simply say he did it?
He prefers the press would shut their mouths.
But it's none of your goddamn business.
He did more than what you think.
But he washed it down the
Does
sink.
he prefer cocaine to hash?
That's the question that he does.
Can he make his point much clearer?
Like a razor on a mirror.
But he wants us to believe
that he didn't do anything.
Georgie Bush says that his nose is clean and never put stuff in it 'cause he's running for the White House, so he just can't admit it. Georgie's clean, Georgie's clean, Georgie's clean.
11:03 at 560 WQM. I was just thinking now that Carlos brought the mail in there, and I don't want him to take this personal unless he wants to. But why is it that all of these morning shows, even in redneck places, and maybe especially in redneck places like Tampa, like the Ron and Ron show, rest in peace, why do they always have to have a obligatory flaming queen on the show? Just like on Power 96. What is its name, Carlos? What name does he use on that show?
I don't know.
He uses some other name on there. You don't listen to the morning show on Power 96?
No,
you sure have a lot of
Rick
company.
And Suds is on.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Rick and Suds need your help. Don't abandon them for that show. But at any rate, he has some flaming name that he uses on that show and doesn't have to act too much being some flaming queen. And they had Fez on there on that. I don't understand that. Because generally speaking, the audiences that these people pander to are pretty negrophobic.
Lita.
Lita? Oh, what a lovely name. Lita. I've never seen Lita that look. Take me to your Lita. That look quite like that. She's really floating these last couple of days. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. We'll make it through today in spite of this damn town. Boy, you just open the window and take a little sniff. Can you smell it? It's the smell of instant death. Here's a mobile in Boca. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
Hi. You asked for somebody who's been to Africa.
Yes, you been there?
A couple years ago on a business trip, I had to go out and take a couple depositions of some anthropologists out there, and in Kenya.
Oh, my God.
In Kenya?
And
Isn't that what they're
we
always-
went to Nigeria, landed
yeah.
in Lagos,
Yeah.
stayed at the Intercontinental. They have an Intercontinental in Lagos. First, let me just tell you, the people are extremely nice.
Uh-huh.
Very, I was
Even the
surprisingly
cannibals, they shake your hand before they put you in the pot, yeah.
Yeah, very accommodating, very educated. We never had any problems with anybody. The only problem, and that's the good stuff. The problem I had was, have you been to France?
Yes, once.
Well,
that was enough for me.
When I was in France, you have that one out of every 10 guys pass you up on the street, and they'll knock you down with the stink, right?
Mm-hmm.
That don't bathe. And
Well,
in
they
Africa,
don't believe in soap.
This is the major league of not bathing. I mean, you're staying at the Intercontinental, and you order, somebody to come to your room to bring towels or something,
Mm-hmm.
and the guy walks into your room, and you can't get the smell out of there for half an hour.
Yeah. Now is that because they don't believe in soap, or maybe
It's just the way the custom is. I guess it's not. They're not stupid people. They're not bad people.
they're just dirty people.
And then we went on a safari, and we ran into those the Bushmen in Kenya, the real tall guys.
Yeah.
And I'm
The
talking,
Bushmen?
Neil, 20 feet away, you're knocked over. Your eyes start watering.
Yeah.
Your eyes start watering.
Wow.
And we actually stayed in what I later found out was you stay in this hut. We stayed overnight in this hut, and it was I thought it was made out of mud. It was
I heard the Africans have a lot of common sense.
You know what? This hut was made out of cow dung.
Yeah.
And all night long,
that's great if you're an artist. It comes in handy if you're an artist.
Yeah, all night long, little flakes of this stuff was falling on your head.
Uh-huh. Isn't that
anyway,
that's that DJ Thomas song, isn't it? Cow dung flakes keep falling on my head.
If you like Italy, because I know you like Italy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Africa's going to be an experience for you.
Well, what does that mean?
If you go to Africa, I mean, it's going to be.
Well, how does Africa compare to Italy? Why would you
I'm
compare
just saying,
the two?
if you're the type of person who likes Vegas and likes the nightlife and likes the ritziness and likes the
there's no nightlife. There's no nightlife in Italy. I mean, they closed the streets down at 8:00 in Rome. There's no nightlife.
Let me just tell you, the prostitution in Lagos, at least in Nigeria, was rampant.
Really?
I'm talking. They see a white guy.
White guys
a tourist.
Right. Mm-hmm.
They see a white guy, and it is. I mean, if you're into black girls, go to Lagos, Nigeria. They will be all over.
Be sure and take your body condom with you too, because 10 out of every 8 people in Africa have AIDS.
That's a big problem.
15 out of every 6 people in Africa are carrying the virus, so you better take your body condom. Well, listen, I'm glad you had a great time, and I hope your nasal passage is cleared out.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks.
Well, isn't that where you're supposed to go through those dark passages when you go on those safaris? Yeah, those dark nasal passages. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Didn't sound too appetizing to me. I mean, this guy, he's a good guy, but he's just stretching it a little bit, so to speak, when he says, if I enjoyed Italy, I really may be interested in going to Africa. And yes, there are some gamey-smelling people in Italy, too, all over Europe. Although not so much in Amsterdam. You don't, they learn to hang on to the soap real tight there. They don't drop it. But in France, the guy's absolutely correct. They like selling perfume and soap, but they just don't like using it so much. Don't do as I do, just buy my crap. And in Italy as well, you get on the bus or get on the subway, and you'll find some pretty gamey people hanging around. See, one of the problems is that when you do your laundry, not with like a modern washing machines and stuff, but when you do it the old-fashioned way, and then you hang the stuff out to dry, and the stuff is still dirty, you know what I'm talking about? And the schmutz just kind of coagulates and dries and permeates all of the fabric, and then you put it back on, and it smells really, really. The word I'm looking for is ripe. Ripe. Do you know what I'm talking about when I say ripe?
Uh-huh.
You know exactly what I'm talking. And there's nothing worse than being on an elevator, on a bus, on a train, in a confined area with somebody that smells ripe. So I thought the problem, maybe they just spelled it wrong in the papers. They said that rape was the big problem in Africa. Maybe they meant ripe. 9 minutes past 11 at 560 WQM.
Firefighters remain perched high on these long ladders, hoses in hand.
We're not living on the top.
Now the ride that I've been driving here today. Now it's a classic set of wheels fixed up the way a brother would like it. Now if the clean is shiny and the trim is gold anodized under my seats, I got a can of liquid cherries, yo. Oh, baby. Coconut colada smelling, cherry machine cruising smooth. Oh, baby. Tiny little smelly little velvet machine. Hey, baby. Check me out when I cruise by on Tuesday afternoon. I'll be smelling so sweet like a fine strawberry. You know, I've got that hot so rooftop smell. If you look closely, you can tell I know the performance in automobile by my crowd in the back seat. Took the suspension out, so I bounced down the road in a Biff Daddy superpower. A little parking stop, no big deal, so there I get around and fixing the brakes. A 1979 Pom Catalina, she's sure looking fine now. It's my baby Cadillac. Oh, baby. Russell Lawrence area be dancing to me. Oh, baby. Coconut granada and cherry machine. Oh, baby. Shiny little, silly little, silly machine.
Oh, this is a better day, let me tell you. Just open up the mail, which usually we get crap for mail in this place, but this is one of the all-time best. My good close personal buddy, Cat Peterson, the editor of Cahoots newspaper in Hollywood, sends me a gefilte fish decal, made especially for Corvettes, it says. Am I going to put it on my Corvette?
No.
No, but we put it up in an appropriate place here in the studio. It's lovely. It's the, it's the usual Christian fish there, the decal, with the gefilte in the middle. And even better than that, if that's possible, what I just did with the letter. Oh, here it is. This is choice. From Tom Denning. Not Tom Denenberg, but Tom Denning. He says, I'm sending pictures of a statue I put together. If we only had TV for this, how would you describe this? This is better than the one with the Pope on our CDs. It's my puss in the middle of with a frock, the priest, the whole deal, the big schmata, and the frizzy hair. Yeah, I look like Jesus on a bad day. And also he sends me one of these. This is write it down in the calendar. The first day in my life I've ever received 2 fish decals on the same day.
Oh!
And this one says, it's got the fish symbol, and in the middle it says, in chips. N' chips. Fish and chips. Nice going there, Tom.
Oh!
Beautiful. Put that one on the other side. What a great day for the Irish and the anti-Goyim. I'll tell you that right now. 5670560. We're talking about Africa. We're talking about places that you don't want to visit. Here's a call from Havana. Hello?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Probably I talked to you maybe half a year ago. I don't know if it was you.
Yes, sir, it was.
Yeah, I got a big trouble here in Havana, Cuba. And I'm trying to do something in the USA. See if you can help me, please. I will appreciate it.
Jeff?
My wife is in Miami, in North Miami. And the operator, the telephone operator from Cuba says the telephone cannot be reached from here. So I'm trying if you could make a connection between my wife and me, because I haven't talked to her for nearly 2 weeks.
Yeah. Did you give George her number?
Yeah, I got a number, but I'll tell you, the operator cannot reach this telephone number from Cuba.
Why not? How did she reach this?
I don't know.
How did she reach this number?
No, she gave me the number before she left.
Yeah. No, you're not following. If the operator can't reach your wife's number from Cuba, how did you reach this number?
No, you mean WQAM 560?
What is it?
No, she told me the telephone cannot be reached from Cuba. But your telephone number, I can reach it.
Yeah, okay. Well, why don't hang on and give George the number and we'll try to dial her up, okay?
All right, I will appreciate it, man.
Okay, hang on, man. Okay, he's on 8 and see if this is legit or if it's we're just being boned again, which is possible, but you never know, like the guy who called from Sweden in his car and was giving me the time 12 hours off. You never know when you're sitting here taking these anonymous phone calls, but we do have people listening in Cuba, don't we?
Uh-huh.
Now maybe this guy's related to that damn faggot, that INS commie pinko spy. You never know. Or maybe this guy's just a guy who's really desperate, trying to get in touch with his wife, or somebody else's wife. Or maybe he's looking for the baby Jesus. I don't know. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T line. In fact, it's kind of appropriate because I was just mentioning countries that I would never want to visit besides any one of the countries in Africa. And here's another one, a gentleman calling from Cuba. Do I ever want to visit Cuba?
No.
No, whether it's a comunista, fascista, none of the above, no interest. Now, how are we going to do this, by the way, if this actually pans out?
On the air, I hope.
But can we put them both on together? We can?
Punch one twice and it locks it. When you hit a line.
Oh, that's right. You're right. No, don't say punch one twice. Okay, is anybody answering this number or what?
Not Jet.
Not Jet?
Answering machine.
Oh, no. I hate when that happens. Yeah, well, why don't you leave a message for her to call our amigo here in Havana? Well, let me punch him up again. Hello, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are trying, but there's no está aquí. They're not home. Nobody home.
Oh, my God.
Exactly.
It's the first time I can reach the connection between you and me.
Let me ask you this. Can your wife call you?
No, not at all.
Why not?
Because, see, man, you're talking with Cuba.
I understand.
Here, anything is possible.
Right.
And this is, of course, one of the places you will not see. You will not able to see Cuba.
No thanks.
Because you don't want to.
No.
Besides Africa and maybe Lebanon and Pakistan, Cuba is another place you won't visit. No.
No. Besides, they're in Pakistan. That's two out of my favorites. Well, listen, I'll tell you. George left a message on the answering machine, and you want to try this again on Monday?
On Monday?
Yeah. Call me again on Monday.
Yeah, sure.
And we'll try it again.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, amigo.
What time about?
Yeah, anytime between 10 and 2.
All right.
Okay.
I got it.
Okay, pal.
What's your name, man?
My name is
What's
Neil.
your name?
K-N-E-L. Neil.
What? Neil.
Maricon. That's my name.
No.
Senor Maricon.
No.
I'll talk to you on Monday.
Spanish.
Okay.
Okay.
Hasta que me olvides.
No. I won't forget you, babe.
Okay, pal. Arrivederci.
Okay.
Love and kisses.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Woo! Heavy duty.
But he can speak
So
English.
what message do you leave for his lovely wife?
I said, hey, Elizabeth, your husband's trying to get a hold of you. Answer the phone, bitch.
I don't understand how they can do that, though. In other words, they can block calls out. That's not true. What do you mean, oh, yeah?
Everything goes through the Cuban operator.
Through the switchboard?
Through the Comunista operator.
Yeah.
And she don't connect you if you're not kosher.
Oh, so maybe this guy must be some kind of subversive, this guy, if they won't let him get his phone calls. Maybe we can give Elizabeth like a rubber raft, and she can take Elian back with her. Huh? And the two grandmas.
We'll trade.
5-6, yeah, for a pitcher and a left fielder. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. We're talking about grotesque places that nobody wants to visit. Spare us all a lot of pain and a lot of money. I mean, places where the people smell bad. Do I want to go there?
No.
No. I'm not into bad hygiene. Can't get by the aroma. I don't care if they look great, if they're friendly, if they're very nice to you. I just can't get by that pungent aroma. Man. Here's a mobile in Hollywood. Hello. Mobile in Hollywood.
Hi, Neil.
Yes, sir.
The last caller that you had that said he had been to Africa, the first part of what he spoke about happened to be absolutely true. I went on business myself 2 years ago, and the people were extremely nice. I spent time, about 10 days, in Sierra Leone, West Africa, which is right on the west coast. The area looks similar to what you would see if you were standing at the beach on the east coast here, looking towards the west. It's beautiful. They get a lot of rain. It's green and tropical.
Yeah. It's lush.
The people, however, of course, it's an impoverished country, so obviously there's poverty there. But for the most part, the people do speak very good English. Communication is easy. They're Muslim and Christian, religion. And when I traveled out into the country, I had no adverse experiences out there either with the people. I was treated very well.
Yeah, man.
The only thing is that because the country was suffering from a situation where the military was not happy with the current political government at that time.
Mm-hmm.
A few months after I left, I was planning another business trip to go back. They had political unrest, and the country, the presidency was seized by the military, and they took control over for about 10 months. So
and they start slaughtering people kind of indiscriminately too, which makes it a little bit dangerous.
Right. And I mean, I haven't been able to go back over there. I don't imagine I'll be able to go back over there for at least another year or so. But when I was over there, and I was told this before I went. I did some research, and I called the U.S. Embassy over here and talked to some people. And everyone I spoke to said they're going to treat you very well when you go over there. And I happen to be African American, and I was kind of looking forward to the opportunity to make a trip to Africa. And this one came up, and I took it. But as far as hygiene is concerned,
yes.
I never once had a situation where I encountered any bad personal hygiene in this particular country, and I traveled all throughout the country.
What country was this?
Sierra Leone, West Africa.
Oh, well, that's a horse of a different color.
It's a small. As a matter of fact, the movie The Amistad.
Yeah.
The slave ship that they had in that movie, and in the real story, those people came from Sierra Leone, West Africa.
Huh.
So,
and they didn't smell so bad, is what I heard.
Well, I don't know. Maybe on that trip over, it probably got a little ripe.
It might have gotten a little gamey, about halfway over, I would think.
Right. I mean, I'm not saying I went around with my nose under everyone's armpit, but when someone smells really bad, you don't have to get close.
You don't have to get too close. It drifts pretty good, especially in the sweltering heat, like in the summertime over there, where it's 120 degrees in the shade.
Well, their weather is very much like here. Now, I wasn't in the desert, I mean, like I said, if you saw the country, it's green, unless you couldn't start a forest fire over if you wanted to, because they get 150 inches of rain almost throughout a 6-month period.
Mm-hmm.
So you couldn't start a forest fire there if you wanted to. But I'm sure in the interior of the continent, where you have dry areas and people are maybe out in desolate areas where they don't have access to stores and, personal hygiene stuff, that they can buy.
Yeah.
I guess they do get used to, you get used to what you get used to. You're a product of your environment.
Well, 150 inches in 6 months don't sound too bad to me. Listen, have a great day, pal.
Thanks.
Glad you had a great time. Okay, he was in Sierra Leone. Doesn't that sound the way you say that? It all depends. It sounds more Italian that way. Sierra Leone. I love that. I love hearing people speak Italian who can really speak it. With schmaltzy. You know what I'm talking about? Leone. Mama Leone. 26 past 11 at 560 WQN.
Oh, God.
On the good ship, Amistad, it's a slave ship, and it's very hot when you row all day, and to whip you on the back with chains. It's a wooden ship, and it smells a lot like an armpit or a bad ink fart, and when you die of disease, they throw the body in the sea. Squished in a hole, no toilet bowl, your pillow is a rat, and if you complain, oh no, white never meet you with the rusty chain. On a slave ship, they don't serve no food. When you get seasick, they feed it back to you. Life is very hard on the good ship on the stars.
11:32 at 560 WQAM. Don't go to Africa. That's what the first guy said. And the second guy said, well, if you're a little bit darker, maybe it's okay, especially if you go to Sierra Leone. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Listeners, stay loyal. Don't touch that dial, says Tom Jicka. A computer glitch forced radio stations to wait several extra weeks for the results of Arbitron's fall audience measurement. It turned out to be no big deal in the Miami Fort Lauderdale market, Tom says. There was so little movement from the last quarterly report, the most popular stations might just as well have continued selling from the summer book. Ratings dictate the rate the ads can be sold. Ratings of the top 5 stations were exactly the same among listeners 12 and over, which is Arbitron's all-encompassing category. Moreover, there was only one relatively insignificant change in the order. Rapper WEDR remains number 1, and soft hits WLYF, Life, is again the first runner-up. How sad. Contemporary dance hits Power 96 broke out of a tie last time with Spanish hits Radio Amor to take over third place by an infinitesimal margin. Hot 105, whose urban contemporary music resembles EDR, held the 5th spot. The big mover in the survey, conducted from mid-September through mid-December, is the salsa sound of WXDJ, which vaulted from 15th to number 6. Another Latin hits outlet, WRMA Romantica, also jumped into the top 10 at number 8, up from a tie for 11 3 months ago. Spanish news talker Radio Mambi, WAQI, held the 7th spot, as well as the distinction of being the highest-ranked AM station in the market. It's interesting that at a time when the Elian Gonzalez controversy dominated the news in South Florida, especially on Spanish talk stations, it was the Latin music outlets that made the most significant gains. How do you like that? Like I've been trying to tell you for all of these years, most of the Hispanic people don't give a flying crap about all of this garbage. It's those same toothless old barbarians out there. The same 500-600 people that have no life. Jazz-oriented WLFV, Love 94 was 9th with contemporary hits Y100 and TMI, the market's only classical music station, tied for 10th. The lofty standing of WTMI, which was recently sold to Cox Radio, could be an important consideration as the new owners decide what to do with the station. You think it's going to be important?
No.
No, I think the classical music is going to hit the road, is what I think. Sports Talk WQAM is the number 1 English language AM, but 17th overall. For the second consecutive book, WQAM's new challenger, WAFN, The Fan, AM 1950, failed to register a measurable audience. How do you like that? Like I've been telling you, did they get one diary?
No.
Did they show up in any demographic?
No.
In any day part?
No.
Do they exist according to Arbitron?
No.
Front page of the Herald, 50,000-part series by Barry Jackass trying to promote their ass, and did it help?
No.
No, they have no measurable audience, says Tom Jika. And he goes on about EDR did this. He says the shuffling of programs between WIOD and WINZ's Stupid Talk AM 940 resulted in a net loss for the station's owner, Queer Channel Communications. How do you like that?
Oh!
We like it. WIOD, once one of the nation's AM powerhouses, but now a disjointed mix of news and mostly syndicated talk shows, stemmed its erosion somewhat with a fractional gain to wind up tied for 19th. However, sister station WINZ, which gave up Rush Limbaugh and Dr. Laura Schlesinger to WIOD, lost a full point and now doesn't even register a whole number. In other words, fractions, Pete, fractions. WINZ plunged to 27th with a mix of mostly inexpensive imported talk shows. A very expensive syndicated program, Howard Stern, continued to pay dividends for Queer Channel's WBGG. The self-declared king of all media is a runaway number 1 in the lucrative morning drive period among his target audience men 25 to 54. Among all persons 25-54, Stern is a close third behind music stations Amor and Hot 105. Neil Rogers' audience share split, but he remains as dominant between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. among adult males as Stern is in the morning. The cornerstone of WQAM has no serious challengers among 25 to 54, a category especially significant to a sports station. Indeed, Rogers' lead-in helped Hank Goldberg jump from 7th to 2nd behind WXDJ among adult males in afternoon drive. And let me say again, that's with an asterisk, because after Tom wrote this, we find out 2 to 6 that Hank was actually number 1 in men 25-54. How do you like that?
Hey, stupid!
Right. However, it says, when women are figured into the mix, Rogers is only 15th among all listeners 25 to 54. To use a favorite Rogers line, you could put all the women listening to his program in a thimble and still have room for the Chinese army. Nice going there, Tom. That's my only pal that I got left in this town in the media is my good buddy Tom Jick at the Sun Sentinel. He may be bald, he may be stupid, he may occasionally be 2 or 3 years behind on a story, but at least he knows my name. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T line. Here's Miami. Hello. Miami.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I originally called about some advertising, but after listening to you talk a while, I've also been to Africa. I'd like to talk a little bit about that.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the mid '80s, I was in the Navy and I pulled into Mombasa, Kenya, on a ship. It was not a business trip; it was a pleasure trip.
Mm-hmm.
So I went down and met a lady, and I went out to a village with her, small village. And spent a few days there with her in a 2-room mud hut.
Shacked up with her, yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons, they're very clean people, But one of the reasons we had trouble taking a shower and all that stuff, we had to go to the village pump to get our bucket of water.
You had to go to the village to pump it, yeah?
Yeah, you had to go, to get the water to carry back home to take a bath.
Mm-hmm.
But folks were really nice.
They just smelled bad.
Yeah,
right.
But there's not much they can do about that because they're not, what do you say, they're not...
they don't have the facilities.
Thank you, that's what
They're living in the Stone Age, right.
Yeah. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. And like I said, people were really nice. Now, that was in the mid-'80s. I couldn't tell you what it's like now.
Well, I'm sure that maybe 2 or 3 people now over there got like running water in the house.
Well, they couldn't have liked it because they couldn't get it.
Yeah.
But that's about it for my bossy. It wasn't a business trip.
No, you just went there to shack up for a few days.
Thank you. That's
right, well, nothing wrong with that.
Basically what it was.
Sure.
Now, the other point I had, I was going to call about your advertisers. I know you don't have any control over that, Neil.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to tell you, I'm just going to say 2 things. I will never buy an Infinity.
Yeah.
And I will not shop at Fort Lauderdale, Mitsubishi.
Okay.
And that, just listening to them people on the air, the guy with the Fort Lauderdale, Mitsubishi, I don't know if there's something wrong with your tape or what. But
the tape is all screwed up. That's not his fault. That's because the tape is defective, and this station is so stupid we won't do anything about it to fix it. Don't blame them for it. Blame us for it.
Okay. I won't, but I still won't buy an Infinity because that repetition stuff will tell
It
you.
just turned you off.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Okay, thanks a lot,
I'll see
Neil.
you in the Sugar Shack.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Okay, we got 4,500 open lines here all of a sudden. I have no idea what it is. Maybe because I took the time out to read the Tom Jick article. Too bad. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. 21 till noon at QAM.
Friday, you bastards. Pops out on the scene, makes the girl scream, skin that's supple and fine. It's 16, it's beautiful, and it's fine. It gets into some girls, they shrug and frown, never touch her behind. It's 16, it's beautiful, and it's fine. It goes crazy when it's tense, when it's bigger, it's better yet. It filled my hand, it touched my chest. Ooh, when it blew, it ruined my vest. It came out of my jeans and into my life. Oh, how it makes me feel fine. It's 16, so beautiful, and it's mine.
Sport. 1:45 at 5:52. We got Hank out at Gulfstream Park this afternoon at 2. Josh Darrow will be on clearance 6 to 6:45 briefly. 45 minutes of clearance. That's, good guy, but 45 minutes is enough. And then we got the South Florida Bulls at the Hurricane baseball and Kaplan after the baseball game. Now, talk about bad timing. One of our good personal friends, Corey Sabin, used to be in our sports department, was here yesterday. The first 20 minutes that he did with Hank yesterday, by the way, were really something special. You know what I'm talking about? Wow. But at any rate, Corey was in here with his lovely girlfriend, whose name is Karen. And they asked me to do a favor for them. I said, sure, no problem. And it's for a thing that Karen is involved in called HELP, HELP. And what they do is they help South Florida's largely immigrant and financially disadvantaged HIV-positive community. And I said, sure, I'd be glad to help. And then I started reading about this, and I thought to myself, gee, of all the days, talk about bad timing. But nevertheless, I'll read this anyway. And then it says, throughout the entire Miami Heat season, each event that's held at the American Airlines Arena, the Mickey Arena, volunteers wearing Help Inc. apparel and distributing information on Help Incorporated will operate 2 concession stands. Help Inc. receives 10% of the proceeds from the stand. And the reason I say it's bad timing is because we talked about yesterday the concession stands and how bad the food is in the joints, and the people were calling in saying, well, guess what, those aren't full-time employees, etc. But at any rate, it says, while this will lead to long-term financial stability, it serves a greater purpose. On a weekly basis, tens of thousands of people learn about the plight of Help's clients and their daily struggles and triumphs in the fight against AIDS, recognized by the community. The Arena program has taken Help's public visibility to new levels. It's for this reason, it says, we're confident that their 4th annual fundraiser, A Night of Hope, will be a remarkable success. Throughout the months of February and March, they'll be staging an extensive advertising campaign in the area. Flyers and tickets will also be distributed throughout the entire Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County areas. A Night of Hope will be held on April 1st, 2000 at the Albion Hotel on Miami Beach from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. And Help Inc. is seeking corporate sponsors and friends of Help to assist with the event. Specifically, they're asking that your organization donate appetizers and finger food. Maybe we'll get a hold of Rutger Hauer. Finger food for the event and a gift certificate for the evening's raffle. And if you'd like to help out with this or get any more information, you can call Karen, that's C-A-R-Y-N, Karen Vogel, and the number is 305-374-8919 at Help Inc. 305-374-8919. Always glad to help Karen, and especially our good friend Corey Sabin, who's got some of his hair back, by the way, and is doing great over there in Fort Myers. Oh! Here's a lady in Miami. Hello. Lady in Miami.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. I was born and raised in Africa, and I traveled.
Oh my God.
Traveled all over the country.
Yes. Were you born in South Africa?
Yes, I was.
How did I guess that from your English accent?
And yeah, that gives it away.
Right. I bet you're born in Cape Town.
Yes, I was.
How do you like that? God, am I bright or what?
Yes.
I don't know. I took some classes in mind reading.
Uh-huh.
If you want to visit, I mean, I've heard your other callers.
No.
I've heard your other callers this morning, and they've all visited different places. And,
right.
I mean, it's a whole continent. You've got such a selection.
It's gigantic.
Of different places to go. And if you go to like a place like South Africa, you know, you're going to get a modern city with modern, you know, transportation systems and everything is, you know, as far as hygiene, it's fun. But if you travel out into the country, you're going to get, you know, the Maasai jumping up and down, people don't shower, you've got to, you know, pump your own water. It just depends on where you go, to be honest. But I've never had any problems, and I have traveled all over the continent.
So you recommend it highly?
No.
South Africa?
No, I don't recommend it to anyone. No. I mean, I recommend it to certain people. You know, I wouldn't tell everybody to go because not everyone's going to like it.
No, I wouldn't like it. I've been to too many good places. You know what I'm saying? I mean, with all due respect, I've been to too many places that are like, you know, enjoyable, fun, exciting, more modern. You know,
well, you would enjoy.
Sure they have very nice modern hotels in Johannesburg and Cape Town.
Yeah,
but,
you would enjoy Cape Town and like touring the wine country and that sort of thing. You would like very much. Yeah. But I wouldn't. From what I can gather of your personality, I wouldn't go into the bush.
Okay, I'll stay out of the bush. Thanks a lot, sweetheart.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I'll do my best to stay out of the bush, always. 5670560. I'll leave those jungle explorations to other men.
I'm supposed to tell you that John Charles Daly from What's My Line is from South Africa.
No, he is not.
That's what somebody called to say.
Was. He's been dead for years.
He was from there, and then he died.
And then he died. 56705. I bet you Boca Brian's going to be upset to hear about that. Probably burst his bauble. 5670560 and pound 560 on the A&T, whatever that is, wireless line. Here's a lady in West Palm Beach. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Neil, what diet are you on?
What diet am I on?
Yeah.
It's called the 2030 Fat and Fiber Diet Plan by Gabe Mirkin, M-I-R-K-I-N, and Barry Fox. It's high fiber and low fat.
Okay.
And that's the name of the book. It's an orange book, and it's got like a little chain in the upper left-hand corner of the book, and attached to the chain is a counter to count the fat and fiber grams, which don't let that scare you because you don't really have to count them as long as you keep track of what you're eating.
Okay. Gabe Mirkin and who else?
Barry Fox. No relation to Sonny.
Barry what?
Fox.
Fox.
Fox,
oh, okay.
Like the animal, like, you know.
All righty then.
Okay.
Where can I get this book?
Any bookstore.
Any bookstore.
It's brand new.
All righty.
Paperback, orange cover, or orange or yellow, whatever, unless you're colorblind, okay?
All righty then.
Can't miss it. Good luck.
Thanks.
Okay, 5670560. By the way, speaking of diets, I know that, and by the way, also, I keep saying by the way because I got all these things piled up here. My good friend Jethro, whatever his name is, that keeps faxing me this stuff, who must be some kind of a queen somewhere, keeps faxing me these pictures of Rob Estes, Kefauver. And he finally came up with a good one. That's all I can say about that. Old picture from about 9-10 years ago when he was young and hung and looked really, you know. I've talked about Rob Estes in the past. Does it make any difference?
No.
No, because we have no woman audience anyway, except for these 3 African people that called here today. But anyway, speaking of diets, in all fairness, even though Bob Lincoln was the one that faxed this to me, but he got it, this is by third hand. But it says, Ray, Dr. Atkins, attached groundbreaking press release. It said, "Is with a great sense of satisfaction I'm bringing to you today. At long last, we have preliminary results from our first 2 official studies of the Atkins diet. These 2 studies herald a new phase in our work, providing our critics and, more importantly, our supporters with scientific confirmation of the safety and efficacy of the low-carb nutritional approach that I've developed over the past 30 years, says Dr. Bob. And here's the release. It says, preliminary results from 2 scientific studies, both released today, February 18, lend substantial support to the Atkins diet as an effective, safe, and healthful approach to weight loss. And like I said before, just because I'm not doing it or it doesn't work for me or I don't want to do it, that doesn't mean it's not great for a lot of people out there who've done very well on it. Whatever works for you. Early results from the first prospective clinical study of the Atkins diet conducted at the Durham VA Medical Center were presented today at the annual meeting of the Southern Society of General Internal Medicine in New Orleans. The second study, retrospective research, comes out of the Atkins Center for Complementary Medicine in New York City. Of perhaps the greatest significance, the Durham, Virginia study clearly demonstrated that the diet positively impacts on serum cholesterol levels, lowering triglycerides, while significantly raising HDL, commonly referred to as good cholesterol. According to the Durham VA study principal investigator, the purpose of the study was to determine the effect of a very low-carbohydrate diet, nutritional supplementation, and exercise on body weight, serum chemistries, and serum lipids over a 4-month period. They treated 41 mildly obese, healthy community volunteers in an outpatient research clinic. The patients followed a program including reduced carbohydrate intake to fewer than 20 grams of carbs a day. The results showed that over a 4-month period, there was an average weight loss of 21.3 pounds. There was a significant reduction in serum total cholesterol of 6.1%, reduction in serum triglycerides of 39.9%, in the cholesterol HDL ratio of 18.9%, and a significant increase of HDL, the good cholesterol, of 7.2%. There were no serious adverse effects of the diet program. So here are 2 studies, and of course you believe whatever you want to believe, and all the so-called registered dietitians and also so-called nutritionists out there will continue poo-pooing Atkins and the other low-carbohydrate diet. But if you can tolerate it, and if it works with your system, and it does okay for you, then believe me, it works. I've known that for years, and it brings down your cholesterol for most people and your triglyceride, just like I just read. So there you go. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T line. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello. Okay, nice talking to you. Here's Coral Springs. Hello. Coral Springs.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Listen, I got to throw a little ball since you're talking about diet. I want to talk about the Panthers for a quick second.
Yeah.
Listen, what do you think about this idea I've been throwing around because of our defensive little problems that we're having here?
No, it's not little problems. The defense is bad.
Okay, and our little controversy over our goaltenders here, who's going to play, who's not going to play. How wide are the goalposts? How wide?
I don't have any idea.
Okay, what does this sound like? I don't forget a sumo wrestler, man.
5670560. What is it? No.
That's for me.
What? That's for George. Well, what's going on here now? I have 1 call on the board. This is one of the most spastic days. Because I read the Atkins thing? What's wrong with reading the Atkins thing? There are a lot of people out there who are interested in the goddamn Atkins thing. I may just sit back and eat my Atkins lunch now. I might just go back on it, just out of protest. Here's our last call, a mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hey, Neil, how you doing? I got
okay,
a call
sir.
that idiot.
Yeah, moron. Sumo wrestler. I think we ought to stick a sumo wrestler in his rectum. I think he might enjoy it.
There you go. Listen, what were you reading off of there? Was that? Can I print that down off the computer or something, or where was that? Not the Atkins.
It was a press release from Atkins.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Because I was on the diet. I lost 18 pounds. It's great.
Right.
I only had to lose like 20, and it was super. Listen, about going to Thailand. I go to Thailand all the time. I know it's a long trip
Going
for
to
you.
Thailand? Who said anything about going to Thailand?
No, I know. No, I go there all the time. I know you don't want to go.
You're a pedophile?
No, that's weird stuff. I'm not into any of that. But the country itself is really gorgeous, and I know you like Thai food. And the prices
I can get great Thai food right here. I don't have to go to Thailand to eat Thai food. I love Chinese food, too, but that don't mean I'm going to China.
I know, but the thing is, the main reason you didn't want to go, I remember, was because of the long trip. But if you go from the Europe side, like if you're in Amsterdam or Germany, wherever you're going, from there it's like an 8-hour shot, which isn't really bad.
Yeah.
And,
so from here it would be 16 hours.
Yeah, you're probably right, because it takes me like 20 to get there from here, which is a pain in the neck.
There you go, even worse.
Listen,
I'm not going on any 20-hour flights.
I know, but Neil, you can say like 5-star hotels for like a 3-star price. The service is super. The country, the country is gorgeous. I think you'd have a good time if to check it out.
No.
Oh well. Well, have fun.
Thanks anyway. 5670560, pedophile. Pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Out of town line 877-785-6345.
The Neil Rogers Show. Sports Radio 560 QAM.
WQAM, Fort Lauderdale.
Hey, believe this. This is Chris Robinson of the Black Crows, and I used to weigh 92 pounds. I was a cow, man. Then I got on the Slim Crash diet. Now I'm a deathly grim 48 pounds. It's great. The Slim Crash diet is so easy. I have a deep breath for breakfast, a deep breath for lunch, and a sensible Marlboro cigarette for dinner. The Slim Crash diet is fast, and look, no more shoving my fingers down my throat like they'd fit.
Slim Crash, the official diet of anorexic-looking rock bands like the Black Crows.
From the makers of the Keith Richards Nutra Heroin Diet, abuse as directed.
So our close friend Shannon was just telling me she was standing at Will Call at the Macarena the other day waiting to get her hockey tickets, and Anna Cornahola was hanging around and acting kind of like belligerent too because she had to move to another window. She was at the wrong window. Oh, I have to get in that line to you? Anna Cornahola. Yeah. Shannon also, by the way, it's a miracle she can get that story out because she's in mourning because Kevin and Brian are engaged to be married from the Backdoor Boys. 56705. First of all, she's much too old for the Backstreet Boys, okay? Too old for the Backdoor Boys. 5670560. I know what you're going to say. Pound 560 on the AT&T. You're never too old to be a fag, okay? Just keep that in mind, George. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
What's the cutoff age?
Cutoff at 110.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm in there. I like the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
I'm 32.
Are you a fag?
No.
Okay. Well, the only reason I asked that is because George always says there are no straight males who like the Backstreet Boys.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I didn't like them until I started going out with my current fiance.
14-year-old fiance, yeah.
Yeah, so she likes them. So I mean, it's good. It's good music. You have to admit that.
It is. It's great music. I agree.
I bet you if you tied George down and had like a truth serum in him, and you had to tell you the truth, he'd have to admit it.
Sorry.
He already admitted he liked the three singles ago. I Want It That Way. No, you had already admitted you liked that.
Oh, but everybody likes that one. I bet you he likes that new one too.
And I guarantee. And by the way, since he was finally admitting when I was on vacation about some of the good music that I liked, like the Bloodhound Gang, and about.
I finally heard that song by the Bloodhound Gang. The one with Do It Like Animals.
The good news about that, by the way, Bad Touch, is that they actually are showing the video on MTV and on the box now. How do you like that?
Oh, I gotta check
even
that
when
out.
the animals humping, they're showing a video.
Show me the meaning.
And since I was the first one to say that this was going to be a gigantic single from that album, and another example of how I know my crap. It's a great song, even though the video is very morbid and depressing, but it's a great song.
One more thing, Neil. I just want to make the comment that sports used to be fun in this town when there was only one sports show on, and it was Depot at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, when the IOD used to have the 6 to 8 p.m. Sports show, right.
And then that was your fill. You had, the 3 or 4 hours of sports, and that was it. And you didn't get oversaturated with these ridiculous calls. I mean, and I don't like the phone calls. I bet you the morning show would be a 10 times better show if they stopped the phone calls.
Hey, I've told them that a million times. What do they need phone calls for? There's 3 guys. They've got 8 million spots, first of all. They've got 3 guys to talk, and then they have all the guests on. So what in the world do they have to have phone calls and put stupid Richie from Boar's Head on and Billy the Jets fan and all these other annoying, terminally obnoxious guys that they like to think are really funny and having a great time with? There are 2.
Have you ever listened to ESPN radio on Saturday and Sunday once in a while?
Yeah.
It's pretty entertaining.
It's okay until that laughing jackass Tony Bruno comes on and starts with that fake forced laughter of his. He's a jackass. I don't care what Hank says, with all due respect to my close personal friend Hank. I mean, maybe he's got naked pictures of Hank or something, but Tony Bruno's a jerk on the air.
Oh, well, Hank is an ESPN suck around sometimes.
Well, maybe he's got to be, Although I heard him take a shot at some of their radio people, so he's, he's making strides.
All right.
Have a great day,
Neil.
sir.
Bye.
Yeah, stop, by the way, recommending I should go to Thailand, okay? I'm not a child molester. I'm not interested in children. Anybody that calls and tells me I should go to Thailand, you're not fooling me. I know that you're a pedophile, okay? A pederast, a pedophile, whatever. A negrophile, negrophobe. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Had a couple interesting calls there about Africa. I mean, not scintillating, not spectacular. It's obvious I'm not going to go there. Anybody else in the audience want to go there except the one guy that's already going to go?
No.
No. See, like I said yesterday, you've only got so many weeks vacation, or did I say that today, or sometime recently, like in the last few seconds? So, you know, you have to be judicious about where you go. First of all, you have to go where you can afford to go, like, North Carolina. But if you have a few bucks, you go to Vegas, you go to places where you're going to have a good time. And I realize we don't all like the same thing, but it just tears my guts out when I get off at the airport, when I come back and I see all these people getting off a plane from Toronto or wherever they get, or Atlanta, and all these cruise ship assholes are there holding up their signs, and they all congregate around them like a bunch of flamingos at feeding time, And they're schlepping them off on a bus right down there to the port to stick them on one of these cruise ships, and then they're going to wind up getting screwed more often than not. I don't see that they have any complaint coming. I mean, if people are that stupid, if you're that dumb that you're going to get on a stupid ship out there in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of some body of water, and then all kinds of stuff happens, and fires happen, and you wind up going to the wrong destination, and tornadoes and hurricanes and all the other stuff, I have no pity for you. It's a racket. It's a scam. It's vacations for dumb people who don't know how to have a good time. Just stop and think of all the great places there are in the world. There still are a jillion places I'd like to go that I haven't had the time to go yet. And sure, I keep going to a lot of the same places over and over again because, like I have a limited amount of time, I want to make sure I have a great time. I go to Amsterdam, I know I'm going to have a great time. I go to Berlin, I know I'm going to have a great time. Rome, whatever it is. But I'd love to see zillions of other places. I'd like to see other places in France besides Paris. People tell me that outside of Paris, the people are much different, it's beautiful, and it's a great country, which I'm not so sure of, but nevertheless, I'd like to find out. I'd like to see someplace in Spain besides Madrid, which, like Madrid, for example, like going to Little Havana. I mean, it's old and it's stale and it's pasty. It's bad.
You're supposed to go to Barcelona.
Barcelona, but I don't have my lisp yet. I'm working on my lisp. I'm working on my Castile.
You're doing all right.
I'm doing okay? I'll have to get JP to teach me, and the lisp too. He'll have to work on it. 5670560 pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Rolling along singing a song. That last guy, though, he's absolutely correct. These incessant sports shows, I realize are all here trying to carve out a living. I don't begrudge anybody. But so much sameness. How many ways can you say the same goddamn thing? And like I've also said before, and I'm not saying this to suck around, but it's true. Hank comes on the air, and I love going home listening to Hank rambling on. I love that. Yesterday I didn't love it because Corey was in there, and they were trying to be funny, and it wasn't. But nevertheless, I enjoy that. It's great radio. It's fun. But as soon as those callers start coming in, the gambling callers and the callers that want to pseudo-intellectualize, who's going to be the right guard and who's wearing the right guard and who's spraying it, it's terminal. It's caca. Awful. I'd rather hear Hank talking about Vegas and about strippers and about a million other things. Anything. How many ways can you say the same thing? You know what I'm talking about? I think you do.
Uh-huh.
What am I getting all worked up about when I got my nice lunch? And by the way, I'll talk about lunch later. No, seriously, I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth, and I love our friends at Tony's, and they're not the only ones guilty of this. But the fact is that I'm getting off the meat, okay? There's only one kind of meat that I'm interested in, and you won't find it in the supermarket. Well, unless it's they're packing the groceries. They're packing it. I'm getting away from meat. And in a salad, why do you have to have meat in a salad? Who ever heard of such a thing? In a chef salad, there's ham. Do I want a chef salad? No. No, thanks.
Antipasto.
I beg your pardon? Antipasto has meat, that's correct. Although there are kinds of antipastos that don't have meat, where they have like smoked peppers, pepperoncini. 10 minutes past noon at 560 WQM. Neil Rogers.
Hail Marys, no way. Forget about it.
Well, maybe you'd like a taste of the back of my ruler.
She's one bad sister that takes no crap, and she's got the biggest boss of them all backing her up. Ninja Nine.
Kneel down in church. Yeah, right. Whatever happened to turn the other cheek?
Okay, folks, turn the other cheek.
Working the rosary like nunchucks, able to toss a Bible with the precision of a ninja star.
Ninja Nine.
She's one ninja whose master is the man upstairs.
Don't you ever call me penguin.
I'm sorry.
And soon to a parish near you.
12:15 at 560 WQM. Happy Friday to you. I mean, what's wrong with being a vegetarian? I'm not talking about being a strict, because I think that if you get to be too strict in anything when it comes to a diet, that you're doing yourself a disservice. But what's wrong with having, like, just a little meat once in a while? Do you know what I'm saying? What's wrong with that? And, like, eliminating all these fatty cold cuts and all this other stuff. Even if you're doing the Atkins, there's nothing in the Atkins diet that says you've got to eat a lot of fat. You can eat all the lean meats that you want, and the low-fat and no-fat cheeses that you want. Shellfish, that didn't have any fat. All of that good stuff. All of these things. But why is it that people constantly are unloading on this cheese and meat and cheese? I'm talking about heavy, fatty stuff. I don't want no heavy, fatty stuff, okay? So thanks again to our close personal friends at Tony's, Brad and all the very nice people over there for a wonderful lunch today. And I don't want to make them feel bad, like, because, you know, and I didn't have to eat the meat. Did I eat it?
No.
You saw me, I trun it in the wastebasket, which is...
the pizza sure is great, though, which I'm eating.
Yeah. Well, their pizza is sensational at Tony's at 193rd Northwest 2nd Avenue. Right. But it's just that when you want to go vegetarian, it's hard to find places that understand what a real salad is. A salad is like with greens and vegetables and stuff and peppers and tomatoes and, you know, little red cherry tomatoes, stuff like that. All of these good things, which I happen to be very fortunate. I like those things. Sure, I'd rather go out and eat a goddamn 2 or 3 pints of Ben & Jerry's fish food, but I'm off of that this week.
Got any pepperoncinis left over?
Yes, I do, as a matter of fact, and you ain't getting them.
Oh.
Why would you want that? Now, what is that? You got a big salad in there. You got a big Greek salad. George, by the way, is doing Greek for lunch.
Rectum.
And he's also got a big pizza in there. And you want my pepperoncini? You leave my pepperoncini alone until Miguel comes in here, okay? And speaking of that, the nephew was just telling me about the appearance they had, not the appearance, the QAM van yesterday. I had that place packed. They were packing it because I kept hinting that Miguel was there. And I'm not talking about Luis. See, this is the one thing about the fags in this audience, and we have a couple out there, 2 or 3, or we got a couple here and there hiding, they're listening in the closet. But when I tell them that somebody looks good, they run, they fly, they float, and I do mean fly without wings. And they say, oh yeah, he was right again as usual. I have impeccable taste. Phenomenal. So when I tell you that, no matter what it is, if it's a woman like Christina Aguilera, if that's what that is, and I tell you she's a skanky, scrawny bitch, and there are guys that call up the show and say, oh yeah, I wouldn't mind banging her. Hey, more power to you, pal. Because I hear that the guy from TRL, what's his name that I can't stand him, Carson Daly, who gives me a daily headache, which I don't watch that anymore, he's the one that's supposedly banging on her now. A match made in purgatory. I mean, for crying out loud. And, of course, she's, like I said to Joe when you were on vacation, some people like that mousy look. That's what she's, oh, seriously, she has the mousy look. Like Dinah, that used to be on Guiding Light before she killed everybody and Vanessa paid her to get out of the country. But Vanessa don't remember because she's in a coma. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. So many wonderful places to go and so many dumb people out there taking their vacation money, their hard-earned dollars, and going to Africa, going on cruises, going to Thailand to chase little girls and little boys. Here's Palm Beach. Hello. Palm Beach.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Hey, speaking of Christina, real quick, I was in St. Louis about 3 weeks ago and taking care of a sick relative. And Panther game was on ESPN, and guess who was doing the play-by-play?
Christina Aguilera.
Christina Moron.
I know that on ESPN.
And I had to turn the volume down.
Moron.
Unbelievable. Hey, real quick, man, I have been to Africa. I've been all through Europe. I've been to Italy, France, 17 countries.
Yes.
Africa, I've been to Egypt and Morocco. Morocco is a toilet. Egypt as well. However, the ruins and whatnot that you get into the south and on the Sinai are just incredible. If things like that interest you, it's definitely worth a trip, but I don't think that would really be too much.
No, I can see phenomenal things like that in Rome and still have great food.
No, I know. That's one thing I enjoyed about Rome, and anybody that goes to Rome, I feel sorry if they think they're going to get it all in a week, because you're not. There's just so much to see over there. I've been there twice, and I still didn't get to finish everything.
I've been there 50 times, and I still haven't seen most of what I'd like to see.
If you going back, one other thing to answer your question as to why these people always smell in these countries, it's very simple.
I'm not the one that said that. The caller from who was in Africa
There's
said
a very simple reason for that, and that these people don't make a lot of money, and toothpaste, toilet paper, and deodorant is last on their shopping list.
Uh-huh.
That's why they don't use it. That's the plain and simple truth.
It's like the Brits. I guess the Brits Brits aren't making a lot of money because they're giving it all to the royal family, and so the Brits can't afford going to a dentist.
No, that's because
That's why they have rotten yellow teeth.
That's from eating all that spotted dick. But,
Probably, yeah.
Hey,
And toad in the hole, don't leave that out.
Listen, I lived in Spain for over a year. I went to the university there for a year, and then I've been back after that for a couple of months. And because you mentioned you'd been there and you'd like to see other places there.
Madrid was very disappointing.
Yeah, but
you're
going to get that in any major city, okay?
What do you mean by that?
Well, what I'm saying is there are other...
Wait a minute, isn't Rome a major city? Rome is a lot bigger than Madrid.
Well, that's true, but Spain has so much to offer. You've got Seville, you've got Granada, you've got Barcelona. You've got the Basque Country up in the mountains. It's breathtaking. You can go into the south, you can go to Granada, then you can go over to, if you want to see more in
Go
France.
to Grenada. I thought we already blew them off the map.
That's right.
Oh, you mean in Spain.
You also said that you wanted to see more in France. I would recommend, and you can gamble, going to Monte Carlo.
Yeah.
It's a breathtaking little city. Very nice. I've been there twice.
Will Princess Grace be there?
Yeah, I think they propped her up someplace.
She's still hanging out.
One last thing. You mentioned, you talked
With Prince
about
Reindeer.
You talked about McCain. You talked about Bush. Okay. I rarely ever disagree with you. But I'll tell you what. I've listened to John McCain. I'm a registered Democrat.
Yeah.
I've watched the debates. This guy's not a religious nut. First of all.
Wait a minute. I didn't say he's a religious nut. But his voting record in the Senate and all of his position papers, if you don't just listen to all the trite BS, he's a right winger. He's a strict down the line right wing.
You know why there's this huge groundswell to support this man is because he pisses off every Republican in the party.
Yeah, but when I hear them talking about the Reagan Democrats that he appeals to, what kind of a real Democrat would have ever voted for Reagan? Reagan was a right-wing lunatic. In fact, he wasn't even a right-wing lunatic.
Exactly.
He was just a face man for a bunch of right-wing lunatics. He didn't stand for anything.
You talked about the issues, and I'll tell you what, McCain has come out against campaign finance reform. He's paying down the debt, propping up. I'll tell you what, these people, they don't understand. You vote for George Bush, okay, and you're going to have this trickle-down Reaganomics. You're going to inflate the debt just like Reagan did during those years. And everything's going nice now. But I'll tell you what, George Bush comes in. Yeah, he can give back all that tax money, okay? But you know what? That's money that would be better spent paying off the debt and shoring.
Well, you didn't hear what I said yesterday. I said if I were a Republican, which I'm not, and I had to choose, there'd be no choice. I'd vote for McCain early and often over Bush. Bush is a bubblehead who stands for nothing and is, again, just a puppet of a bunch of fanatical lunatics.
And when he's asked
like Pat Robertson.
When he's asked a tough question, he stutters, he stammers,
yeah.
He's got that...
No, when he's asked any question, forget about tough question, when he's asked any question, and the only thing he's got to talk about now is how McCain is attacking him and running these unconscionable ads and comparing him to Clinton. He has no issues to talk about because he really doesn't stand for anything.
No, and that's exactly it. And basically McCain came out and with Gary Bauer, who I know you can't stand. But no, and I can't...
Yeah. Now, let me ask you, how does that jive with what you just told me? He's not a religious nut, but Gary Bauer endorsed him.
I'll tell you exactly why,
Yes.
okay? Because whenever anybody is a contender, whenever they drop out of the race due to lack of popularity, they always come out and they always throw their support for somebody. It doesn't mean that McCain asked him for it, because quite frankly, I'm sure McCain he didn't need it.
But why would Gary Bauer give it to him when we know where Gary Bauer is coming from, who you would have to admit is not just a religious nut?
It's the same thing as Michael Jordan. Do you actually think that Michael Jordan makes a difference in the political process? No, but he came out and he backed
But Michael
Bill
Jordan wasn't running for president. Gary Bauer
I
was.
know, but my point is that by Michael Jordan coming out and backing Bill Bradley, what does that mean? That means nothing.
It means they both play basketball.
Exactly. So it doesn't mean anything. Okay, it doesn't mean.
Well, I don't see where the harm is in Michael Jordan, whether he's political or not. There are a lot of celebrities and movie stars that endorse candidates every election. But that's not comparable to a fanatical right-wing nut like Gary Bauer endorsing John McCain. He must feel that John McCain's policies...
But you got to understand one other thing. It's just like the media. Anybody can come out and say anything to anyone. So as long as there's a bunch of cameras and reporters there, they're going to listen. So he can come out and say anything he wants. And they're going to
it's obvious to me you're sold, and you're entitled.
No. I'm a political junkie. I watch these insipid debates and everything, and I try, honestly, to make the best decision. I really do. But to me, I'm a registered Democrat, but I don't vote party lines like everybody else. I think that's a bunch of BS. I think people need to vote for the person that they think is going to do the best
Well,
job.
when the Republican Party decides that they want to appeal to like mainstream America, not just a bunch of rich elitist right-wing lunatics, then I'd be more than glad to consider some of their candidates, but they haven't shown that to me yet.
Well, I tell you what, I think you need to really take a look, or at least read a few articles or something about McCain. See what he's
I
saying.
have. I just got through talking yesterday about the fact I read one coming back on a plane through Atlanta about his voting record in the Senate, and it's enough to terrify somebody like me.
Well,
On every single issue that I could imagine talking about, he's diametrically opposed from where I'm coming from.
the thing is, I don't think anybody. You would think in a country.
And he's got a track record. He's got a voting record. It's not like we're making this up or theorizing that maybe he thinks this and maybe he thinks that. It's all right there in his voting record in the Senate.
Well, I just love the fact, like I said before, I think the biggest appeal to John McCain is the fact that he just pisses off every staunch Republican in the country. And that doesn't mean he's going to get my vote. It's just that I like him for the fact that he's sitting there, all these hypocritical, pious buttholes that went through all this Clinton stuff, he's finally putting them in there.
Well, at least he put the gooks in their place anyway. Have a great day, sir.
Hey, I love you.
See ya. Yeah, that was another one, another example of somebody sticking their foot in their mouth. Did you read about that, where he called the Vietnamese, the North Vietnamese gooks?
He ought to be able to.
No, but that's not the point. And then, of course, he had to clarify he's only talking about his captors when he was a prisoner of war and not just everybody with slanty eyes like all those other gooks. I mean, you just don't say those things. It's like Ross Perot. You people, you darkies out there, you know. You're not fooling anybody. Come on. But there, you know, McCain, there's no question about it. He's got that appeal because he's different. He's a war hero, and he's a wise guy, and he makes a lot of wise cracks. And because he's not George Bush, the same thing like that Bill Bradley thing we played in the beginning. A lot of people like Bill Bradley. They had no idea what he stood for because he wasn't boring Al Gore. Then they found out he's more boring than Al Gore and much uglier, by the way. Oh, you notice who won the best looking contest? Al Gore was number one.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah, exactly. As if that makes any difference. Now, if Steve Forbes were still in the race. He changed the complexion of it. 26 past noon at 560 WQAM.
It's Friday, you bastard. One, two, three, four, five. Come on over, honey, now. Come and take a drive to my big house in Chappaqua. We can both get juice and maybe a little Panama. My wife is on business. She's out for a week. I'm like a kid in a candy store. It's time to cheat. I got pretzels, hot dogs, cold beer, and pizza. You remember Little Billy, your leaning tower of Pisa. It's going to be a wild time at my home in New York. Because to me, darling, cheating's like a sport. Unzip my fly, it's all good. Coming over, honey, now blow on my trumpet. A little bit of Monica in my life. A little bit of Monica without my wife. Now a little bit of Monica's what I see. When she's far away, that's Hillary. A little bit of Monica's what I need. A little bit of Monica memory. A little bit of Monica, here I am. A little bit of you, I'm a happy man.
12:32 at 560. You want to know what's really great, delicious? You probably don't like it. Spaghetti squash. You ever had that?
No, I don't think I have.
You've never had it? Do you know what it is?
No. Some kind of squash?
Yeah. Do you like squash? Any kind? Oh. Well, but this doesn't taste like regular squash. Squash is like mushy.
Right.
I don't like that either. But spaghetti squash is like a big squash that you slice it open, and inside has all these strands.
Ooh.
That look like pasta.
How do you cook it?
You scoop it all out, you throw away the seeds, and you cook it just like you would cook anything else. Just heat it up. Just warm it up. You can put anything on it. I take my no-fat pasta sauce, which there's all kinds of now, very good ones in the supermarket. You take your no-fat pasta sauce and some Parmesan cheese, put it on there. It's delish. It's great.
All right.
I'm just telling you, spaghetti squash for people that are on this low-fat, high-fiber diet, people that are on the Atkins. I mean, it's very low in carbohydrates. It's low in anything. You can eat almost unlimited amounts. It's great. There's more than one way to slice your ass. I'm telling you that right now. For people that are locked in, oh, gee, what do I make? What do I eat? Yeah, eat this. 567-0560, pound 560. We're going to cultivate some new places, some salad places. For meals in here from you know what I'm talking about. We'll find some places that specialize in like real salad stuff. Here's a mobile in North Miami. Hello. Mobile in North Miami. Gone. Here's a mobile in Boca. Hello. Mobile in Boca.
Yeah, Neil?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's Tommy. I stopped by to see you Wednesday at the game. I said I might have a ticket if you wanted it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have one for Monday. I don't know how they would get it. They'd have to come, obviously, to pick it up or what. I know it's a little late, but I just found out today.
Well, you're going to be there tomorrow?
No, I'm not. That's why I'm calling. Remember, I'm the photographer. I just got called. I have to go up for another assignment, so I won't be able to do that.
Well, how am
But
I
I can leave
going to get the ticket?
I know. It's just, well, I figured if anybody really wanted it, if you want, I can, off the air, give my number. They can call me, and I'll leave it someplace for them to pick it
You're
up.
going to be making a bad mistake, my friend.
Yeah,
Trust me, you don't want to do that.
Okay, well, I figured I'd try anyway.
I appreciate it, but we'll do it next time, okay, when you can give it to me at the game?
You know what? Yeah, if I have them ahead of time, I'll hand them to you. It'll be a lot easier.
Right.
Okay?
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Bye.
Hey, he's a good guy. He doesn't always get a chance to use his tickets. He says, hey, from now on, would you like me I'll give you the tickets, you give them away. And I will do that off the air. Not on the air. We're not giving stuff away on the air again, are we?
No.
No, never again. Unless it's maybe a date with Miguel and I'm the one getting it. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T line. Is that a weed book that you're reading in there? I see something that looks like a picture of some grotesque cannabis plant there on the front.
The Marijuana Trade by Floyd H. Goodman.
Oh, I discovered that on the Nieuwendijk, which is one of the main shopping streets right next to the Dam Rack in Amsterdam, they have like another, what the hell is the name of that store? The word cannabis is in the name of the store. And it's another like gigantic head shop. And it's right there in the middle of like all the, your regular shops. It's great. 5670560, pound 560. Of course, it's not as exciting as Conscious Dreams with those magic mushrooms. You just sit across the street and you just stick your nose out the window. You open up the door. Wow, I smell something really good coming from that joint, so to speak. Here's Miami Beach. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I'm on vacation. I haven't heard you in years. You sound great and healthy. And
I am.
I just wanted to, a couple of callers ago sounded pretty intelligent. He's well-traveled, and that's what surprised me about his support of McCain. If you've been in Europe any time, I mean, any Republican is considered a Nazi in Europe. I mean, Europeans are almost all going social democratic now with Blair and Mitterrand. I mean, the whole...
Except in Austria, of course, where they never met a Nazi that they didn't like.
Their social programs are still way to the left of anything we have here as far as medical care and everything.
Right.
I mean, the Republicans, you can't own medical care, put a Band-Aid on it.
Look, let's face it, the Republican Party in this country has been taken over years ago, 20 years ago, in 1980, basically, by the religious right, by a bunch of fanatics with a very limited agenda, tax cuts for the wealthy, blowing up abortion clinics. Let's, scapegoat the blacks and women and fags and et cetera. And the Republican Party is not for mainstream America, and it hasn't been for 20 years.
And I want to apologize publicly because I voted for Reagan back in the day. But you got to Carter. Look what happened with Carter.
Yeah, well, he was a putz.
And the thing is, I'm a former Marine, so as a vet, I looked at McCain for about a microsecond. But I give him a lot of kudos for his service.
Yeah.
But I don't care what you were. If your policies are going to be anti-everything I stand for, I'm not gonna vote.
Anti-human, that's correct.
So, and of course, I'm sure the Asians like his goop comment, if you've been reading about that.
Yeah.
So
he probably figures around a lot of Chinese people in South Carolina. He's not worried about it right now.
I'm a big-time Gore supporter, and, he's got his faults, but he's better than what the Republicans are putting on the plate.
Amen.
Thanks a lot, Neil.
And have a great day. Plus, what's wrong with Albert Gore and Tipper 2? Isn't there some clever way we can do that Tippy Canoe and Tyler, too? We're going to come up with this Tipper 2 thing? Huh? You won't have to worry about any illicit sex or any other kind going on in the White House when that couple gets in there. She's anti-sex. She's anti-everything. She's anti-pornographic lyrics in your records. She's anti-human is what she is, that bitch. How about a first lady that, has got something?
She's got some mental illnesses.
Remember Lady Turd? No, seriously. When's the last time? Jackie Kennedy. I mean, she talked like this. She was a high-paid slut, Jackie Kennedy, professional whore. Oh, and I'm reading more and more, by the way. Not that I give a crap about John. Now that the American public finally realized that he wasn't important after all. But more and more I'm reading that she was banging Onassis before he was born, John. And a lot of people believe he was the father. He had that Greek look about him.
He sure did.
He didn't look like any of the Kennedys, like anybody else in the family.
Had that thick, billowy hair.
Right, exactly. Didn't look like JFK or Bobby or Teddy or any of those other people. He looked Greek to me. That's what I'm hearing. He was big into
rectum
Greek life. 21 before 1 at 560 WQM. But, of course, like I told you, we never know the truth about anything. I mean, what you see is never what you get. It's just they have to slick everything up and package it for you and present it in a way that they think is palatable and romantic and exciting for the American public. And if we ever knew what was really going on, we probably would all say,
yeah.
Only one South Florida radio station has the hammer, and you're listening to it. Goldberg, weekday afternoons at 2, Sports Radio 560, QAM.
I know that the Lord even loves Neil Rogers.
Oh, yeah. Come on. He wakes up in the morning. He's still coming inside. He couldn't tell the work of art from a hole in his back. The stuff that's wild and woolly, they count on 50 to view it. 'Cause judging you is a dirty job, and he's the man to do it. Judging you is a dirty job.
Yes.
Judging you is just Jesse's job. He'll put you through the ringer and hang you out to die. He'll kick you out of business, 'cause he's a right-wing guy. He'll break your heart to pieces, but first you got to go through it. 'Cause judging you's a dirty job, and it gets him off to do it. Judging you is a dirty job. Judging you is a dirty job. Judging you is a dirty job. Judging you's a dirty job, and just to help you do it.
Okay, here's a fact that says, what's the matter with www.neilgod.com? Why is it down? It's only been down for, 2 years? Our website is neilrogers.com, okay? Neilgod.com has been down for 175 years. It's been down, something like that?
Uh-huh.
Get with it, okay, you guys out there? Get with the pogrom.
Don't forget the poll question.
Oh, yeah, whatever happened with that? Well, we're not going to get much of a response because I forgot to keep pumping it. Maybe they're pumping it at Tallahassee and Gainesville. Yeah, who's getting more ass? Where's the better nightlife? Who's getting the better action? The Seminoles or the Gators? Tallahassee or Gainesville? NeilRogers.com. Cast your vote. Yeah, they'll look at it just like a football game. That's the way it is. We'll never get an honest answer. You're going to get an honest answer from college kids about who's getting laid?
No.
High school kids?
No.
No. All the great locker room stories, we all know how that goes. And the ones that say they're getting laid the most, they're not getting any. And the ones who just keep it real quiet but walk around smiling all the time, they're the ones getting laid like 4 times a day. Here's a gentleman named Paul who's from Africa, a country called Cameroon, rhymes with coon in West Africa. I know it well. See, one of the great things when I was a kid, I was a stamp collector. Did you ever collect stamps?
No.
Communist.
Schlepper.
You don't have to be. It wasn't an expensive hobby.
Did it cost money?
Oh, yeah. A little bit.
More than I had.
But anyway, and I got to know the names of all of these countries and all the British colonies. But of course, this is back when there were British colonies and all of these other places, including the Afrikaners. And now you look at a map of the world and you say, what is that? What kind of a name of a country is this? Do you know what I'm talking about? I mean, Kazakhstan, I know that where that is because, the Maple Leafs have got a player who's from Kazakhstan. That's the only reason I have to know that. Nick Antropov. Are we going to talk about hockey again?
No.
No, okay. Are the Leafs going to win any more games this year?
No.
Well, it's been fun. Anyway, he says a country named Cameroon in West Africa. Cameroon and Canada are the only 2 bilingual countries in the world that speak French and English. French and English.
Yeah, man.
How do you like that? Population of about 15 million people. We just won the African Nations Cup in soccer for the 3rd time, and to keep the cup, we were 4th in the world soccer at the 1990 World Cup in Italy. I'm challenging you to buy a round-trip ticket to visit Cameroon and see for yourself.
No.
So, through you, many people will get to know Cameroon by putting it on the air. I love your show, and everybody in my family will be listening to you. We are dying to meet you in person and show you pictures and tapes about Cameroon.
No.
I am a well-settled guy in Miami for the past 2 years, living well. Please, I want you to visit us and get to know my people from Africa.
No.
Please call me, and it's got a number here, Dade County number. Here's my home number. You won't regret getting to know me and my family. I love your show and agree with your philosophy and ideas of life. Let's meet and see what comes of it.
No.
Says Paul. No, Paul. He's got a family, George. You give me a look like that because he says what comes of it. You're just, I'm sorry. By the way, am I going to meet Paul?
No.
But thanks for the facts, Paul, and thanks for listening, and have a great life. And look at this, Jethro, the chronic faster. He's the one that asked me, Neil God. I go, what is wrong with you, Jethro? The facts, the website is neilrogers.com, goddammit. Uh-oh.
The 3 wide and what have you.
until the last few laps. And again, when the checkered flag goes in the air, those drivers once again will be thinking of victory. They'll be smelling victory, and they'll be 3 wide. But at least for the next 40, 50 laps, this race will calm down a little bit.
But until the crash, I mean, the first 57
little problem in
laps,
Daytona,
it
baby.
was spectacular. These guys were running.
Little problem in Daytona, a little crash into the stands there, and now they're putting the fence back together and back up again, and we don't know how many people got hurt and what's going on. I had an alert on that on the facts here. Auto racing, and I love Joe Costello. You're a great guy, Joe. You're one of my favorite people. You're a sensational, good Italian boy, but you know something? This auto racing crap. Pure, unadulterated, make no mistake about it.
Crap.
Right. For people just waiting to see some kind of a horrific crash. These are rubberneckers. I mean, at least it's great we get these rubberneckers off the main highways that we have to drive and try to stay alive on, and we congregate them all in one big place. And then once in a while, somebody has a horrible crash, and they go through one of those fences and up in a crowd and kill a bunch of people, et cetera, and so on. See, I think you'll find that the biggest problems, the biggest melees that you'll have at so-called sporting events are at auto racing and soccer. Places where they have these enormous stadiums where they have 100,000 people, things like that. You know what I'm talking about? And then, of course, they put all these people in places that aren't safe, like a lot of these rickety old soccer stadiums in Europe and Latin America where they're like falling apart, and they get a crush of people trying to move in one direction or the other, or a fist fight starts, and then all of a sudden the whole thing crumbles, and we have 40 people get killed and 180 people get injured. Now, when you sit at home and watch on TV with a, Chateaubriand sitting in front of you and a nice Chianti and some fava beans, yeah, what's wrong with some fava beans on the salad, huh? What's wrong with that? 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T line. Here's Fort Lauderdale. Hello. Fort Lauderdale.
Hi, Neil.
Yes, sir.
I have 2 huge stories.
Okay.
Number one of the guys from Pros and Cons, the Dolphins are about to sign him. It's on page 5C in the Sun Sentinel.
One of the guys who's written up in there?
Yeah. The guy who beat up the guy from Texas Christian, who beat up the guy real bad in the bar.
Yeah.
It's in 5C in the.
All right. Great.
And last month, Larry King, they did a whole hour on Jews are going to hell because they don't believe in Jesus. The whole hour was this. They had a Jews for Jesus, a head from the Southern Baptist, and 2 rabbis. It was fantastic. The rabbis would say, "You mean the Jewish girl who died in the Holocaust? She goes to hell?" And they go, "Yeah." The whole show.
And
was
leave it to a good Jewish boy like Larry King to put that crap on again, who never met a right-wing Christian that he didn't like.
It was good for people to see it, because I think it's next month that the Southern Baptists are going to Chicago to convert the Jews and the Muslims and everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they already worked on the Jews. Now the next they're working on the rest of the Christians and the Mormons and I forget who else it is.
Yeah, one more thing.
The target group of the month.
You had a guy about 3 months ago. He was talking about how the Christians can't explain the dinosaurs. There was a show on one of the Christian stations.
Now you're not talking about the kid Fiedler, the quarterback, are you?
No. They would say the Christians actually believe that dinosaurs didn't live millions of years ago. They were in the Garden of Eden. I swear to God, that was on the
Ryan Tucker.
Yeah, that's him. And I don't understand. It. It says a deferred sentence. What does that mean?
He received national attention during his senior season at Texas Christian University when he and 3 teammates were charged with a severe beating of a fellow student outside a Fort Worth bar. Brian Boyd suffered a fractured skull and facial paralysis during the altercation. In 1998, he was given a 5-year deferred sentence, a suspended sentence, and fined $5,000. He was required to pay $9,677 in restitution and complete 800 hours of community service. Before that incident, he was accused in 2 other bar brawls and charged with public intoxication for another incident. How do you like that? So it's great to see that even though Jimmy is left, Dave Wanstead is continuing looking for every criminal that he can find from coast to coast. Thank God for that.
Okay. And in closing, were there dinosaurs in Noah's Ark?
Sure. And you should have seen who had the shovel concession. 5670560. Here's the same God that created the universe, and instead of just waving his little magic wand or his pinky or whatever it is, or his whatever he's got, and saying, "Hey, look at this. Here's this big cruise ship, Noah." And you don't have to go out and work yourself up to a sweat because you're too busy getting drunk anyway. All of a sudden, look at this. There's 2 of every is right there on. I just waved my hand. They're all on the ship ready to go. All you got to do is steer. And there's even a few steer on there, too. I wouldn't give you a bum one. But no, Noah had to go out there with his little hammer, with all his little primitive tools, and he built this gigantic ark. Woo! Nice going there, Noah.
And he pitched it, without and within.
I heard he pitched the fit, is what I heard. Well, no, actually what happened is he pitched the tent, and then God pitched the fit. Yeah.
That's what Hans said.
Old man like Noah. 5670560. I mean, anybody who believes those stories, what can I say? How do we get through to you? How do we get through to your fertile little mind? How do we open it up again? Maybe with a can opener. We can open up your brain again and pour some sense into there and make you realize these silly fables, these idiotic things. And that's why these right-wing Republicans with their religious hocus pocus, which you won't find in many of the places, like at least in Western Europe, except, of course, in Northern Ireland. And look at what a good job it's doing there. Yeah. And what have I always told you? Here's the 800th peace treaty in Northern Ireland down the toilet. Here's the 45,000th Middle East peace treaty just in my lifetime down the toilet. How can you have peace between groups of religious fanatics who've decided that the other people are going to burn in hell and they're their mortal enemies? Does it make any sense to me?
No.
No. Here's a lady in the Gables. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi.
How you doing?
I wanted to tell you, first of all, I'm a Lady Panther, and I'm taking my kids to their first Panther game tonight.
All right.
So,
You're going tonight?
You're going tonight. And,
the Panther game tonight?
No, tomorrow night.
Oh,
Sorry.
tomorrow night. Yeah.
I knew that.
I was scared that you were going there tonight and you'd be real disappointed.
Well, I'm getting prepared tonight for tomorrow.
Okay. I was
Because I'm
going to
bringing
say, at
the
least
kids.
we're not going to lose tonight anyway. I guarantee that.
Absolutely not. Second of all, I'd like to say about the spaghetti squash.
Mm-hmm.
If you cut it in half, you put some olive oil on it. You
Right.
put either the spray, if you like the spray, or just regular olive oil.
I love olive oil.
Put it in the oven for till it gets soft, about 350 degrees,
Mm-hmm.
and it gets soft, and you scrape it out. It's just like spaghetti. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
right. I love it.
It's awesome. That's how you cook it, George. And
It's good for you, too. It's great for you.
yeah, it is. It's great. And anyway, and no, go Panthers, and you're doing a great job. And I also wanted to say, George does an okay job while you're gone. he's fun to listen to, but he kind of was rude to me today on the phone. So oh well.
Plus, he mumbles a little bit, but he's. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
See you tomorrow night.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, I got to say you mumble a little bit because I'm, 5670560. Exactly. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. And the out-of-town line is 877-785-6345. And I might just point out to you, by the way, in this rating that just came out, in December, which was like the middle of November till the middle of December, we had an outstanding month, and George was on for a week during that period of time. I was away. That was one of my vacations. So how do you like that? All these assholes out there that are always giving him a hard time. And, those tapes, we love those tapes. Every time we would play the Best of Neil tapes when I used to go on vacation, we would have a week in the middle of the ratings that would, disappear, take a gigantic dump. And George, for all his mumbling and religious hatred and all the other swing club and whatever else he mumbles about, he's doing just fine. So leave his little ass alone. There you go. Of course, there's a lot of room for improvement there. Oh, I'm sorry. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T. Well, that's what Rimmer said. 1256 at 560 QAM.
This is 560 QAM.
Boy, it's the 1 to 2 hour.
At 560 WQM. Hank will be out at Gulfstream doing a show this afternoon from 2 to 6. 6 o'clock we got Clarence, Josh Darrow, 6 to 6:45. Briefly, that's enough. And then the South Florida Bulls and Hurricane Baseball, 6:45 till at Kaplan time at 10. So while I was away, I guess the Sun Sentinel finally discovered that thing that was in New Times about the Alien family over here, which somebody finally sent me in the mail. That got lost in the mail and was in that strange plastic. What goes on with the mail, What? How? Well, it looks like somebody was chewing on that, like they were eating it. Eat this. Yeah, it has a whole deal about the family, this real upstanding family that he's got over here. Their criminal past, like Lazaro Gonzalez, 49, who has temporary custody of this little punk kid, was first arrested and convicted of DUI in 1991, state motor vehicle records show. He was arrested again on the same charge in 1997 and placed on probation for 12 months, ordered to perform 50 hours of community service, attend a substance abuse program, and pay an $884 fine. Delphin Gonzalez, 62, who lives in the Florida Keys but has been spending most of his time at his brother's home since Elian arrived, was convicted of DUI and causing property damage in the Keys in 1991. Motor vehicle records show he was arrested on a second DUI charge in Dade County in 96 and placed on probation for 12 months, ordered to perform 100 hours of community service and pay an $849 fine. The men's two nephews, Jose Armando Cid and Luis Armando Cid, both 32, have more serious legal problems. They frequently visit Lazaro Gonzalez's home and taken alien on outings. They have criminal records including charges of strong-armed robbery, burglary, illegally carrying a firearm. The most recent incident involving Luis Cid took place in September. He and an accomplice accused of holding up a tourist from Connecticut. When a man stopped in Little Havana to ask Sid and Manuel Chong for directions, the man asked him to pull into a parking lot. According to police records, Chong grabbed the man from behind while Sid punched him and then ripped off 2 chains. Sid was charged with strong-armed robbery and scheduled to go on trial this month. Luis Cid served 6 months probation for charges of carrying a concealed weapon and resisting arrest with violence, state records show. His brother Jose Cid's rap sheet goes back to 1986, including a 4-month jail sentence for burglary. And it goes on and on.
So the kid can stay, all the rest of them got to go.
So, yeah, the question is, which scumbag family should he stay with? The scumbag family over here or the scumbag family over schleppers over there who want to, bite his tongue and reach in and see if his genitals are growing? 5670560, #5. Well, at least one thing over there, we get to use the same toilet paper over and over again. Get familiar with it. Here's Miami. Hello. Miami.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, sir.
Yep. I'm waiting for Neil.
You're speaking to Neil.
Yes, okay. Neil, how are you?
Good.
I'm a long-time listener, and I think it's amazing that you can come on the air for 4 hours and keep everybody in fits of laughter. So I
think
really
it's
enjoy
astonishing, if you ask me. I really do. It's amazing.
But I do have one little issue with you. The places that you choose for vacations, no question, are wonderful. Amsterdam, all of Italy. I mean, Rome is one of the great cities of all time. Las Vegas, all those places are great.
Toronto.
I don't know Toronto too well.
Great city. Probably the greatest city in the Western Hemisphere. But anyway.
But anyway, and you were quite wise to pick out the accent of the lady that said she was from Cape Town, because that was a very concocted accent as far as I was concerned. But you're a little off base.
You thought she was make-believe?
I think that she may have passed over Cape Town on some weekend, but I don't think that she lived there.
Maybe she was there on Passover weekend.
It could be.
Yeah.
But anyway, you're a little off base when you say people are wasting their time and energy to go to Africa, because these places like Serengeti and Masai Mara and the Ngorongoro Crater and the Victoria Falls,
yeah,
I mean, those are astonishing places. And if
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, and if one goes there with somebody that they can really enjoy, I mean, I've rented a villa outside of Siena for a month, and if somebody said to me, money is not the problem, where would you like to go for 1 month? You could go anywhere on earth for 1 month. I would pick the Africa bush. And by the way, how
about Columba bush?
What I was going to tell you, too, is in these places that I mentioned to you, the lodges are, 4- and 5-star kind of places. I mean,
Right.
They have unbelievable luxury.
Oh, I understand that, but that's for tourists.
Well, you're right. Now,
The people who are living there, I mean, you can find great 5-star hotels in Caracas, Venezuela.
No,
and the majority of the people living there are living like schleppers.
No, I agree with you, and India points that out remarkably. The only thing about Africa that is disappointing to me, and I'm about the same age as you,
Yes.
is that the amount, that the quantities of the animals we humans have done a hell of a job in damaging that whole thing. I mean, as a child growing up in South Africa, and
Well, you got to have those elephant tusks,
Well, that's the thing. You know that
Got to tickle the old ivories.
at this point in time, by the way, in order for an American to go to Tanzania or any of those places, they charge him about a $40,000 or $50,000 license fee in order to kill an elephant. But the United States then only allows 100 elephants to come back into this country, tusks or feet or whatever it is. But the point that I was going to make is, as I was growing up as a child, we would go to these various game parks and we would see sometimes 300-400 elephant at a time, either in the pool or in the river, frolicking with the babies and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And today, if you see maybe 20 or 30...
when the French Canadians come down here, you can stay, like, go up to some of the Hollywood hotels and see a whole bunch of elephants in the pool.
Well, anyway,
All at
I
the
just
same
want to
time,
tell
but
you,
it's
I've been listening to you for a long, long time and enjoy you immensely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And have a great day.
Okay.
And I'll see you in Nairobi.
All right.
All
Bye-bye.
right. With the Nairobi Trio. And how's Ernie Kovacs doing? Anybody seen him lately?
No.
What a shame that was, huh? 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. How are we doing on that poll question, by the way? You think we're getting any response on that? Probably not, because Eric hasn't indicated anything at neilrogers.com on our website where you can vote. We're going to start next week. We'll do like some serious polls once in a while, like semi-serious, like which is better, good and or bad.
I usually wait until the next day to get the results anyway.
Oh, I see. Like I said, we'll wait till tomorrow to get the results. We'll come in and do a special Saturday show, right?
No.
No. And how's Brian doing with the word on that appearance, by the way? I don't want to start picking on good old Brian, but boy, oh boy, he is.
He's an asshole.
Really dropping several notches on the food chain. Maybe he wants to pick up the pace now that Fat Boy may be leaving. Well, he's on. Well, now he had to suspended sentence. He's back, but he was like in limbo. And then we have the other one. I don't want to mention Peter Leonard that keeps threatening to leave. But if he leaves, then he won't be able to come in here and share all his personal grief with us. And then we got Todd Dreck, of course. When you told me that Todd Dreck has an inside parking space downstairs, and I hope you're wrong.
I saw him parking in there.
You saw him parking in the covered parking under the building of sales putts like him? And I think he's parking in the spot that I usually take. You know how Phyllis has got her spot that nobody dares to take, and Screw Ann, she's got her spot right next to the Water Nazi, which is appropriate. And I was taking a spot like on that same side, like right next to the, you know where I was parking. I mean, not that it's important as long as there's a spot down there, but it looks to me like Todd Dreck, somebody that drives a Jaguar, is parking in that spot. Not that I want to, my name isn't on the spot. I don't want to start playing Butch Boss with anybody, but it just irritates me that peons are parking. Who the hell is Todd Dreck? Who the hell is that?
He's an asshole.
Well, we know that. 9 minutes after 1 at 560 WQM.
Ed Kaplan knows the score. Starting at 10 till the last game ends. Yeah. Weeknights only on Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Estoy estrangulando el pollo por acá.
Tonight, it's Cops in Pennsylvania Dutch Country.
Amish cops, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when the carriage comes for you?
Well, hello there, Jebediah. Hello, Officer Hezekiah. Say, what brings you up to my humble abode? Well, we got us some reports of some fussing and a feuding in these here parts. Ah, yes, Hezekiah. I'm ashamed to admit that my wife, Sarah, exposed part of her ankle. Why, that no good hussy. Yep. I've got me a good mind to put her in the stocks and give her 40 lashes. Well, that would be a good idea, but then there wouldn't be anyone to milk the cow. Yep, women. They're the reason we're all going to hell. Yep. Well, I got to get back to plowing the fields. Okay, then. I guess I'll be getting back to the barn raising, Hezekiah.
Amish cops, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they shackle you?
That's tonight on Cops in Pennsylvania Dutch Country.
See, one thing, we can rip the Amish all we want because we know that they're not listening. Yeah, we can rip them an ass. And in fact, even on the worst thing yesterday morning, they were making fun of the Amish because they can't listen. They can't be having no radio.
Unless they're bumming a ride from somebody.
They
can ride in a car.
They
just
can't.
can't own
They
one.
just can't
oh, yeah.
own one or drive one. Can
I
they
was
drive
making
one?
rides for my sister. She lives right next to a settlement.
Oh my God! State official blocked other in-school filming. Here's the thing about this Henry fraud. Deputy superintendent, this man with a bad pasty wig, bad makeup job. He's an asshole. Right. And not only was it this Oprah show, but it's got a whole list in this thing in the Herald this morning, which I won't waste your time with, about all these other things that people wanted to do, about some of the good things, which there aren't very many, but some of the good things that are happening in public education in South Florida, and that he don't want you to know about those.
Did you mention he's not a real doctor?
He's wants to be. He's a wannabe. Dr. Rodriguez. Facing charges, former teacher kills himself. Did you see this? The guy was sent into a middle school and didn't just kill himself like ordinary, you can kill yourself. First, he tried stabbing himself, and then he got out and got in the car and drove to a, where the hell was it, this building he jumped off the 4th floor from and committed sausages? Well, whatever it is. He's dead. Fine, look at this phone. It's dead, too. It's just like that teacher. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T. We've covered the entire world practically today, from Africa, from the deepest jungles of Africa to Thailand to Uranus and everything in between, from Atkins to Skatkins to you name it, to the Backstreet Boys are getting married, everything you could possibly want and then some. And here we are sitting here, this board is as dead as a goddamn doornail. Here's a pig report in Fort Lauderdale. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Oh, is this me?
This is you.
Oh, I just called about an accident on 595 at 95. It's eastbound on 595. The
Right.
traffic's backed up from 95 all the way back to the turnpike.
Oh, my God.
Thanks for the bad news.
Okay, sorry.
Thanks, pal. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, there you go. Be warned. Okay, stay the hell out 595 eastbound in the areas where he was talking about, or you're going to be sitting there a long, long time. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. We got the Panthers and Penguins tomorrow night at the Mac Arena. Big game. Younger's injured. I don't know if he's going to be able to play. Probably not. And, of course, I don't feel bad about that. I would like to see him play, but that means a better chance of us winning. Who cares about him? He's small potatoes when we got Pavel. And, I don't want to get started. But I will say it anyway, because it just grinds. I was saying this to Rimmer yesterday, and, of course, he agrees. Okay, Peter Worrell, which he's not one of my favorites, because to me he's basically useless, but I would agree that he played probably the best game he's ever played for the team against the Rangers the other night. Went out there, he a couple of unbelievable hits on Peter Nedved and little Theo Fury, whom I hate. A couple of great hits, almost scored a goal, he hit the goal post. He played a nice assist there to Ray Shepard. Played him a good game. But I'm going to tell you something. When this man gets a greater ovation when his name is announced than Pavel Bure, it tells me there is something desperately wrong with several thousand of you assholes who sit in those seats. You have got the greatest athlete in the world playing on that team. There is no, I told you that when we first got him, and I'll tell you that again now. The most scintillating player, the guy that gets you, everybody stands. When it looks like he's going to get a breakaway, everybody stands, including me, and we're like holding our breath, knowing that something sensational is going to happen. I just for the life of me don't understand the mentality, the stupidity of some of the people there. It's like the rubberneckers in Daytona. It's the same thing. They're more interested in watching some goons out there get into a brawl, which in 99% of those fights, nobody really lands any serious punches, and very little ever happens. Once in a while, you see somebody with blood running down his head, but 99% of the fights, nothing really happens. And that's what gets them all whipped up into a frenzy. And I'm going to tell you something tomorrow night when they announce if and I don't know what line Terry Murray's going to start in the opening game, but if he starts the number one line and Bure is starting on right wing and they announce the starting lineup, there ought to be a standing ovation for him. And I know I'm going to stand up and cheer when they announce his name tomorrow night because he's the best in the goddamn universe. There's something very, very seriously wrong when you put it right in front of somebody's nose and people can't even recognize what it is. You know? No, seriously. You pick up 20 pounds of dog crap and you stick it in front of hey, what's that? You know, and they're sniffing it and feeling it and potchking around with it. God, there's something desperately missing in this town, like some common sense, like some understanding. Here's Fort Myers where they understand it. Hello?
Neil.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm a Jew who lives in Fort Myers.
Oi! You're the one, huh?
One of about four.
Four. Well,
yeah. Well, I mean, in the
another
place,
2 or 3 might open up a deli over there.
Well, you know, in this place, every other guy's name is either Wade or Emmett or Dale.
Or Anthony.
It's kind of redneck, you know?
Yeah, a little bit.
George Bush Jr., did you see him last night on his interview?
No.
Unbelievable, as they say in Southern California. He was on, they were talking
Oh,
about,
we're fine.
Yeah.
They were talking about this guy in Austria, this
Nazi,
Jörg Haider. First of all, I didn't even know the guy's name.
Mm-hmm.
And whoever...
He doesn't know. At least he's consistent. He doesn't know anybody's name, any leaders, any country in the world, you name it. He doesn't know.
So true to form, they asked him, what do you think, how do you think we should react to him if he says something? He said, true to Bush, he says, we ought to leave it up to the Europeans. Yeah.
Right.
That was his response.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right about McCain. Don't be fooled by McCain.
No. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody think that he's a moderate or progressive. He's every much as right wing as Bush ever dreamed of being, only he just is a wise guy, that's all.
I'm from Madison, Wisconsin, and our home senator is Russ Feingold.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. He's very progressive. He's working with this guy a little bit. but I know him a little bit. I don't know him well. I've met him in Madison.
Yeah.
I asked him about
You
him.
ever meet his boyfriend? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, he's not like the guy from Minnesota, Wellstone.
Okay.
But I asked him about the guy, and he said the guy's an asshole. He said plain and simple, the guy's an asshole.
He is an asshole. That's right. Everybody knows that. Except these. See, this business of I'm a Democrat for Reagan, I'm a Democrat for McCain. Like I said to the guy that called before, it makes no sense. I mean, if you want to be for McCain, that's okay, but don't tell me you're a Democrat, because his policies, his positions on every single issue are the antithesis. They're diametrically opposed to what the Democratic Party stands for. So please don't tell me you're a Democrat for McCain. That's like a Jew for Hitler.
Yeah.
You can't be.
And this guy who called you yesterday, I got such a kick out of. Some guy called you and he said, "Oh, he's from Arizona. That's a right-wing state."
Oh, yeah.
Florida's not?
As if that's an excuse. That would be like saying Hitler was from Austria. He was born in Austria. Therefore, that's why he had to be a Nazi.
Yeah. And Florida's not? I mean, come on.
Have a great day, pal.
You too.
Oh, he said you too. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Here's Miami. Hello. Miami.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Neil.
Yes.
Yeah, did you get my fax?
About?
The guy from Cameroon.
Yes, I read your fax on the air. See, if you were listening to the show, you would have heard me read the fax, Paul. This must be Paul.
Yeah, it is Paul.
And you know what, Paul? I appreciate the invitation, but the answer is
no.
No.
Why, Neil?
Because I am not interested in going to Cameroon, and I'm not interested in coming to your house. I appreciate the offer very much, and I'm sure you're a very nice guy and have a wonderful family, and I'm sure you never stole a freight train, but the answer is still no. I'm just not interested in Cameroon. It rhymes with the cocoon, you know.
Have you ever heard about Cameroon?
Have I heard about it?
Yes.
Heard what?
About Cameroon.
Well, what is there to hear about? I mean, like, what have I missed?
You always go to Canada, right?
No, I don't always go. I go there often. Yes, I go to Toronto.
And did you know Cameroon is like
yeah,
only two bilingual countries in the world is Cameroon and Canada?
Well, see, the fact that they speak French there would be one of the major reasons I would not go there. See, I don't go to Montreal or to Quebec. I go to Toronto where they speak English.
Oh, man, you're kind of disappointing me. Yeah, big time.
I'm not going to Cameroon. Parlez-vous no? Parlez-vous no way, Jose?
Oh, man. Well, anyway, I love your show, Neil.
Well, thanks, Paul. I hate to disappoint you. Maybe I'll think about it. I'll sleep on it, okay?
Please, do think about it and give me a call, please.
Okay, I'll give you a call.
Okay.
Okay. Sit right there by the phone.
Okay.
Okay. It'll be either me or Regis, one or the other.
No.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Boy, that really is a bad show. You know, and now that it's been on for a while, and I don't even watch it anymore. It's a bad show, and the only reason that it's got those high ratings is because everything else that's on is that much worse. Thank God for having 17 satellite dishes and a whole bunch of choices and 2 VCRs. That's all I can say. Because what they put on network TV, I wouldn't give you a flying Schmidt for. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T. Here's a mobile in Boca. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Just a couple of comments. One is I heard Hank Goldberg talking to the other day, and some lady called up, and after she asked a question, she said something to him like, I'd appreciate if you wouldn't eat on the air. It's kind of rude.
Yeah.
Well, you would think she stole his sandwich. I mean, he went off on her, calling her every name in the book. You wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And I don't quite get it. I mean, why does he have to be so rude?
But wait a minute. Why are you asking me about something Hank did? Why wouldn't you call him and ask him about it?
I don't want to. I want to ask you one other thing.
But seriously,
I'll tell you why. It's just an observation.
Yeah.
And I figured maybe you could talk to him.
Talk to him about what? I'm not going to tell Hank how to do his show. If I disagree with an opinion he's got, whether it's about Cecil or an issue or something, I'll talk about it, but I'm not going to tell him how to do his show.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to bring it up.
Listen, I didn't hear the call, but I listen to Hank a lot. And quite frankly, to be honest with you, he gives people a lot more rope than I do. I mean, if somebody is a jackass or somebody is rude, I'm going to hang up on him a lot sooner than Hank is going to do it.
No, you wouldn't have done it as quickly as you did. I'm telling you, it sounded like you stole.
But why are you so concerned? Was it your wife or somebody? Was it somebody you know?
No, I got a lot of time on my hands.
Oh, okay. Well, at least you're honest anyway.
The other thing is, you're talking about the politics and McCain and Bush. Bush is an evil-looking guy, isn't he?
Yes, he really is.
And
beady-eyed.
He is. He reminds me of Nixon back in the 60s.
And he also looks like the kind of guy who'd snap at the drop of a hat. He looks like a coke guy because he looks like he's ready to snap. And if you look at him cross-eyed or ask him just the wrong question in the wrong way, he's going to lose it.
Don't you think he'd look great with a handlebar mustache?
Yeah.
Right?
In fact,
and big bushy eyebrows.
Have you ever seen him together with Bob Barr? Think about that. And have a great day, okay? 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line, 126 at QAM. Who was his ward?
Not his pedophile.
Yeah. I like it when the guys stop by for a Hummer. Do you remember? Do you remember when you got that Hummer? New kids on the block really have small Chinese suits have no. I unzip the flies when the guys stop by for a Hummer. For a Hummer. I like guys who start at only 1 inch. It stretches when they make a wish. 'Cause it gets long from my Hummer. From my Hummer. Big one, Daddy, stick it in my hand. I gave you a Hummer and it all began. He had the biggest one that I ever did see. It fell to the floor when you tried to pee. When you unzip, I can't help but want it. But it's so big that you just have to flaunt it. You wet my whistle with that big thing, baby. Halfway down my throat, man, it drives me crazy. Now I think about you and it makes me sad. You went away and never came back. I gave you a Hummer and you went back home. Macaulay Culkin was the size of your bones. I felt deep in love when you gave me a beating. Now I'm a little bitch like Alex P. Keaton. When I met you, I knew that you were thick. It really doesn't matter the size of your stick. New kids on the block really have small Chinese who have no. I unzip the flies when the guys stop by for a Hummer. For a Hummer.
132 at 560 WQM. Very weak results in our poll today. Very weak. 44 votes. Well, it's just not that kind of a question that's going to elicit a lot of response, unfortunately, because these people don't have a sense of humor. Who gets more ass? Seminoles 24, Gators 20. Seminoles win. Oh! Seminoles win. Oh! How do you like that? That's why they call them Seminoles, because they're getting it. Oh, I don't want to forget this. Someone threw a bag containing 7 dead fish and a handful of pennies in front of Miami Mayor Joe Carroyo's Coconut Grove home Thursday. Carroyo said he believed it was a Santeria threat. The mayor's wife had gone out to pick up their daughters, 9 and 11, from school. When she returned, she found a plastic shopping bag from an El Presidente store. In it were fish with mouths open and pennies. My wife called me at work to tell me, and I told her not to go pick it up, but she had already done it, Carroyo said. It was very upsetting because this is not the kind of thing any parent wants their child to see. Carroyo said he didn't know who'd be responsible. He said it's the first time something like this has happened, but that he doesn't feel threatened. I've heard this is supposed to be some type of ritual related to some kind of 7 powers to wish me bad luck in my life, he said. I believe in God and not in any fish or pennies, no matter how wide open their mouths are or how much they stink. If the fish is rotten at the head, put it on Joe Carroyo's doorstep. Exactly. All right. That means Luca Brazzi. That means that Joe Carroyo sleeps with the fishes, I think is what that means, isn't it? Something like that?
Uh-huh.
134 at 560 WQAM. Where are we going? Let's go to a mobile in Delray Beach. Hello. Mobile in Delray.
You got him.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
I just want to tell that idiot that called before.
Which
Tell him
one?
to call Hank and complain to him. I don't want to hear his schmidt.
Yeah. What kind of crap is that? I mean, every time somebody starts that,
Spineless.
they know what they're going to get. I'm not going to discuss it. If they have a gripe with the way somebody else did something, call them about it. It wouldn't happen on this show.
It's simple, but you're dealing with idiots.
As a jellyfish doesn't have the balls to call up Hank and rip him an ass because Hank will hang up in 2 seconds.
Easily. Back to Africa. Why the hell does Peter Worrell have an article in the paper today?
Meaning what?
Oh,
yeah, I saw that. Because
Why?
I have no idea, because they're obsessed with him. He plays one good game finally. Even in that game, he got a stupid penalty early that almost cost us and fell on his ass about 3 or 4 times. I just don't know. I've never been able to figure out what the big traction is.
Look at his stats and look what he's done, which is nothing.
Nothing.
So
Absolutely
why give him print or any
Because they're obsessed with him.
Yeah, whatever.
They're obsessed.
Let him go. All right, Neil. Take care.
And have a great day. I mean, you can't knock sense into people that just don't understand what the game is all about. Their ideas, they want to see a guy go out. And even people in the section to my right there, I look at them, I sit there and watch them, their reaction when he's into one of his make-believe fights with a guy that comes up to his pulpit. To my pit end. They're like frothing, they're foaming at the mouth. This is by far the most animated they get, unless maybe that little blimp is flying over and dropping some of that crap in front of their puss. Here's North Miami. Hello. North Miami.
Hey.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Listen, that caller, he's at a Gulfstream today. Go out there and give that fat bastard a kiss from me.
Yeah.
Anyway, listen, you're always picking on Costello about the car racing. Have you ever been out there?
I'm not
Well,
picking
you
on
always
him.
pick, Joe
Well, that's
Costello,
his-
he's a great guy, but all that car racing.
That's right. That's exactly correct.
You want to go out there, he happens to be a good drag racer. I met him about a month ago. That kid
I had
can
to
drive a
go
car.
out there for what?
Go out there and check it out. You're always knocking something. Why don't you go check it out?
I'm not interested in it.
Yeah, but how can you give a fair, evaluation of something?
Don't
Go out there-
you just think I've seen plenty of it on television?
No, but television doesn't do it justice. Drag racing, you got to see in person. These cars that go round and round, all well and
Round and round and round. Yeah, and
All right, drag race is a different story.
yeah.
Joe's got two different cars.
I'm not interested in drag. Okay, if I want to see drag, I'll go downstairs and take a look at Carlos.
Get your mind out of the gutter, will you?
Okay.
But no, I've seen Joe, and he's got two different cars. He's got cherry cars, beautiful cars.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. I have two beautiful cars too. But what about it?
Yeah. Well, what do you can drive 35 miles an hour on the streets? But it's it's a great sport, and these people don't. They don't go out there.
Why is it a great sport?
Well, because first of all, the participants are fan friendly. They're not. You don't not like the rest of these jocks, these basketball players, these football players, and baseball players. You go out there. You want to talk to a participant. Boom. They're right there for you, and they're none of them are crooks.
I hear
criminals.
the participants at Tiddlywinks matches are very friendly too.
I'm not going to try to win you over. We got enough people out there anyway, but it's a good sport. And, you ought to go see Joe one time, I tell you. Just give it a shot.
I see Joe here all the time. I don't even have to leave the building.
All you got to do is go up to Lionel Moroso one night, and you'll enjoy it.
Okay.
All right, Neil.
See.
Bye.
And let me just say this to you, okay, so you don't feel bad. There's an equal amount. There are three different things. The chance of my calling Paul from Cameroon back, my going on a trip to Africa, and going out to seeing Joe in drag, or whatever this guy's talking about. There's an equal chance, none of the above. Zero. So at least I'm an equal opportunity naysayer. The answer is just
no.
No, very simple. Not because I don't like to try new things. I mean, I'm pretty open-minded, but those are things that are absolutely not in my vocabulary.
And you've seen his dragster. He put it on that Christmas card.
I saw him in drag just the other day when he was in. At the hockey game the other night, he came in drag, and Janina wasn't too happy about it. But that's just his thing. He likes the drag life. 22 before those actually some things that we've been waiting for in there.
Yeah.
What a shock! I'll give me something to listen to after Hank gets his first call.
QAM drops the green flag with Motorsports Saturday. Saturday mornings at 6 with Joe Costello. Right here on Sports Radio 560. QAM.
It's Friday, you bastard.
HBO presents A Family Story. Two elderly women come from Cuba on a mission. Armed with only stale, sugarless candy and a Yahtzee board, they must bring back a young boy by any means necessary. Phyllis George as Mariela Quintana and Charlotte Ray as Raquel Rodriguez in HBO's Las Abuelas, the Grandmothers.
If you don't give us the boy, we're gonna chop you up into little croquetas.
Forget about Uncle Fidel. He's in the joint on racketeering charges. We're the new enchiladas in town.
It's La Familia redefined. HBO's Las Abuelas, the Grandmothers. Sunday nights at 10, 9 Central.
Ay de me, I got the gas really bad.
The Grandmothers.
16. I thought that was a zipper coming down. That sound I heard. 16 before 2 at 560 WQM. Hank will be at Gulfstream at 2 o'clock. Josh Darrow, Clarence will be on briefly at 6. We got Hurricane basketball against USF at 6:45. Ed Kaplan after the game. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T line. Here's another call in Fort Myers. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
Fort Myers calling. Flight spy report. According to the morning show over here,
Yes?
the station went up 2.5 points in terms of ratings.
What station? Over there?
Yeah.
Well, how come they're not, it must have all been in the morning, I guess, then, huh?
I have no idea. I was
How come they're not giving us sharing that information with us? How come we don't have a fax on that? How come we don't have some better communication since we're handing them for free most of their programming from over here? Wouldn't that be nice for us to know?
I agree. Especially since they basically tripled their ratings.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well, let's go, Joe. Let's get with it over there in Fort Myers.
Long-time listener of you, used to listen to you when you were on 940 from over here. And quick request.
Yes, sir.
The Ebonics song, Jigaboo.
I'll work on it. Have a great day.
Thank you.
What was that, 5 requests? Something like that? 5670560. See, this bugs me. It just bothers me that we work in a vacuum in this place. We get all kinds of stuff on this fax machine for the sports people that has nothing to do with us, that goes in the circular file. But the stuff that I would like to know about and things that we would be wanting to talk about and of interest to the audience, do we get that stuff? No, after we beg for it, after we have to get spy reports from the listeners. But it figures. It's the Beasley frickin' way. Here's Miami. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Great.
Hey, I was listening to Paul from Cameroon.
Yeah.
And he was saying, if he could go one place on Earth, he'd like to go to the African bush.
Mm-hmm.
The only African bush I'd like to go to is Tyra Banks' bush. That's the only one I could consider going to for any length of time. I don't know if you agree with me on that, but hey, one more thing.
Was it Ernie Banks? Is that what you said? Ernie Banks, yeah.
Hey, I wanted to give a message to George. He might be interested in this. Tomorrow night at Tobacco Road, it's a music club in downtown Miami. They're having a festival to legalize medicinal marijuana.
Yeah.
And my band, Beyond Salvation's playing there tomorrow night, and he might take that.
Okay.
Okay?
He says he'll bring Bong John Silver with him. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Yeah, I mean, this business of you're going to talk me into going to Africa, you can waste your time and flap your lips. Oh, that was a bad choice. Huh? That was a bad thing to say. Well, I mean, if we were talking about any other country and I said flap your gums or lips or something, I guess nobody would take that the wrong way. But when you talk about Afrikaners and you say flap your lips right away, oh, you see that? He's making those comments again. I mean, I'm not saying that all dark people have big, thick lips. Like Malcolm there on The Young and the Horny. Does he have big, thick lips?
No.
No. But then again, is he really black?
No.
He's like, had a good suntan, I think. And how come all this good information we get on the fax machine about people that I never care about, that we get all these biographies and stuff, how come Nick Locker from 98 Degrees, I never got any bio or information about him or pictures of what it looks like? You know what I'm saying? Huh? How come? Probably the most important man in the world, to me anyway. The most talented man in the world beyond a shadow of a doubt. The greatest voice in the world, no matter what George would tell you. I mean, he's no Limp Dick Biscuit, but 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. Here's Hallandale. Hello. Hallandale.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
I know I tried to catch you yesterday when you were really talking about the...
You know who that is? I hate to break the news to you, asshole, okay? But you're like 25 minutes ahead of your usual call. See, this is one of the real problems we have on this radio station. In fact, Hank should get like an asterisk, extra credit for being number one in men in his last book because he did it with a handicap of the fact that his board ops keep putting this asshole on the air every single day. Steve from Hollywood, Steve in a mobile. It's always the same twerpy voice, I have nothing to say, piece of crap. Every single day. And he calls in that first half hour, of course, because he knows that I'm in the car on the way home driving, listening. Which I don't really care, but it sure isn't helping Hank's show, and it sure ain't going to happen on this show. You moron, you idiot, you. What a quisling. What another one of those pathetic. There's a whole group of these people. We ought to rent a room at Holiday Inn. You know how they have the circus, of course, where you go and you look at animals in a cage? Not the circus, but like the zoo. And we ought to have like a cage like that and have him and a guy with the eyes and the 4 or 5 other, half a dozen misfits. You know the ones we're talking about, the ones you never hear of anymore because I made them disappear. And just put them in there and let everybody take a look and see what these people look like and what they're all about. It staggers the imagination. We don't want to talk to you, okay, jackass? Nobody wants to hear your whining, wimpy voice. You have nothing to say. Here's Miami. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hi, Neil. How you doing?
Great.
I got a quick number for you. Came out this week in Sports Illustrated. 58,000 out of 210,000 tickets sold for the Lightning through December were free tickets given away.
Right.
Over 25% were free tickets.
And won't it be great to have 2 more girls teams coming into the league next year? Isn't that just what we need, Gary Bettman, you idiot? Yeah.
Got a bunch of schleppers up there in Orlando. Anyways, in reference to the affirmative action, I believe that it should be eliminated because...
Well, wait a minute. Before we go on, if we had the Tampa Bay Lightning, if we had that same team here, how many people do you think would be showing up at the game?
Oh, geez, probably you.
We have a great team, and I understand the San Jose game when I was on vacation a week ago Wednesday, there were like maybe 12,000 people, maybe tops in that arena. So, and this is for the top team in the division and one of the best teams in the league.
You should do a poll, maybe not the next game, see who won the MVP at the All-Star game and why, and probably half of the people there won't even know what the
No, they'd probably write down Peter Worrell.
About the affirmative action,
Yes,
people
sir.
should get jobs and get into school because of your qualification, not because of skin color, tooth color, size of anything. You know what I mean?
Absolutely correct, sir.
Right.
It's hideous that they got to meet quotas.
All these people that are belly aching and bitching, you know something? Your time is up. If it's not completely up, it's running out. That's what they're screaming about because this favoritism and this reverse discrimination has gone on too long, and it's got to stop now.
Exactly. I laugh at those people because they're trying to get in just because of certain qualifications that they're born with, like skin color and stuff like
No,
that.
I want people doing a job waiting on me who are qualified, whatever
Exactly.
job it is that they're doing. If you're not
shouldn't have-
qualified, get lost.
They shouldn't have race on most applications, if any at all. Is there any chance you could do screenless today?
Have a great day.
Thank you, sir.
No.
5670560, pound 560 on the 8. Where did that come from? Like out of left field, I guess. 151 at 560 QAM.
Devo's Sony Sports Showdown. Are you up to the challenge?
No.
Saturday mornings at 8, only on Sports Radio 560 QAM.
O'Neill, my queen. God.
Hello, I'm Linda Tripp. Recently I had $30,000 worth of cosmetic surgery done on my face. People have been asking me lately how I feel. Well, to tell you the truth, I feel great. I feel like I could touch the sky. No more dark circles underneath these beautiful eyes. People compliment me on my brand new nose. I put my hair in pretty pink ribbons and bows. Yes, 'cause I'm a sexy woman since my new surgery. I think I'll have the judge over for dinner and tea. I'll turn my head, he'll feed me grapes, and then we'll burn those silly tapes. I could stand to lose a little weight, but I feel great. Ah, yes, very true.
Uh-huh. Okay, 156 at 560 WQM. She is a cow. But that son of hers, I'll tell you, I already told you, didn't I? So let's do this over the weekend since we're trying to do this thing, taking the polls on our website. We'll give Eric something to do. Well, he doesn't have to do anything. Just put it on there. Let's take a presidential poll with that big South Carolina primary coming up today. And we actually had 3 or 4 people today mention, like, names of candidates, which is pretty scary for this crowd. Let's take a presidential poll over the weekend, and Monday we can give you the results from this audience. Bush, McCain, Gore, Bradley, or Keyes. We'll even put Alan Keyes on there because he do still be a candidate. Kind of, sort of. Yeah, like that. NeilRogers.com. That's our website. You can get on there, and we'll find out what this audience be saying. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T line. Here's a mobile in Pompano. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Neil.
Yes, I am.
My queen. Hey, Foster Hewitt. You
Yeah.
must have remembered him when you were a kid.
Yes.
Yeah, hockey night, coast to coast in Canada.
Yeah.
What happened to his son? I thought he was broadcasting games too. I moved down here.
Bill Hewitt's been
Yeah.
dead for like 2 or 3 years. Bill Hewitt was the greatest.
Well, I moved down here in the late 50s, so I never really got to keep up on it anymore. But
Yeah.
Foster Hewitt was fantastic back when
I don't agree with you at all. I think Foster Hewitt was a pioneer, but I thought he sounded like a whiny old washerwoman. His son
but
Bill
he-
Hewitt was the greatest hockey announcer who ever lived.
I was a
On the
kid.
face-off,
Well,
Danny McDonald. The Belichick
Yeah.
that's all I knew. I was a kid at 12. He was my hero.
Who,
He and Gordie
Foster?
Howe and all the rest.
Yeah, okay, well, listen, have a great day. There we go with old-time hockey. Anybody want to hear about that?
No.
That's a sure way for a tune-out, which we don't want to do to Hank just before the show, like the morning show tries to do to us with that goddamn Richie from Boar's Head every day. Yeah, that's their new tactic. Instead of backing up the last commercial break, they make sure they put Richie from Boar's Head on as the last caller, or if he's not on the phone, they talk about him like they did this morning. Okay? God is going to get you guys in the morning, I'm going to tell you that.
Oh, God!
Is going to get you, okay? Because you're costing us bonus money. Seriously, we're number 1 in 2554 by a mile. Hank is number 1 in the afternoon, 2554, between 2 and 6. Are they number 1 in the morning?
No.
Are they number 2?
No.
Are they number 3?
No.
Are they number 4?
No.
Are they number 5?
No.
No, they're number 6. Number 6. That's men 2554. That's the male demographic here on a sports station, where the other day parts are number 1, and they're in the morning, they're number 6. Because they're talking to Richie from Boar's Head, that's why. And Billy the Jets fan. Yeah, taking the easy way out. 3 of them